Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of the MinnMax Show podcast, place about games, friends, and getting better. My name is Ben Hansen. I'm joined by Haley McLean.
Hi.
On this lovely of days, we're joined by Jacob Geller.
I'm here.
Hey. And we're joined by Kelsey Lewin.
I'm also here.
It's so weird. I was playing some games with my nephews not too long ago, and they just parrot what they hear YouTubers say. And so we're playing the Fortnite or something, and they're like, "Here, I'm Johnny." I'm like, it's just trying to do that math of them. Okay, they're clearly quoting a YouTuber who is quoting The Shining, who is quoting The Tonight Show. It's just lost in translation. So what I'm trying to say is we're all here for you on this fine podcast day, everybody, because we got a lot to talk about on this episode. We're not going to be talking about Civ 7. So everybody calm down. We're going to be talking about that presumably. Yeah, it's rude to ask somebody if they're playing Civ 7.
And we will not be talking about The Sims.
That's right. So next week, we're going to be talking about all those games. Jeff might be checking out Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 as well. I know it seems like some people are very into that. Reviews are a lot better than I was expecting. The Root Trees Are Dead is also a game that we're excited to talk about. That's going to be coming up next week, so stay tuned for all that fun stuff. But on this very episode, it's all about the most anticipated games of the year for all of us. Let's run down some of these biggies. Then we're going to be checking back in on Kelsey Lewin and just her life, see how she's doing. Specifically how she's sleeping. And by that I mean how she's playing Citizen Sleeper 2, because she didn't get to talk about it a couple weeks ago. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about Spirit Swap, cool new match 3, and a bunch of other odds and ends before back half of the show. We get to some great questions submitted over there on Patreon. Thank you for everybody's kind words about Alana Pierce and her guest cohort ship over the last month or last 3 weeks, to be more precise. Yeah, she was great. She's an honor to have swing by. Thanks everybody for being nice to her out there in the MinnMax community. I hope she had a good time, and she probably wouldn't want me saying this, but it seems like the type of thing I should mention is such a saint, that Alana Pierce, that I said, all right, here's your payment for your month of MinnMax, and she said, no, just go ahead and donate it to the wildfire relief for LA. Can you imagine that?
Class act.
Class damn act. So show her some
Making
love
the rest
out there.
of us look bad a little bit, too.
Yeah, I'm waiting for all y'all.
I take that money.
Yeah, every month when I give you your paychecks.
I do use that money.
So rude. Speaking of using that money, hopefully you all have been enjoying what we've been creating here at MinnMax recently. We're kind of in a bit of a sprint where we're cranking out a ton of content. We'll talk about it at the end of the show, but like the Shuhei Yoshida interview that's up in the bonus podcast feed and up on YouTube, the rapid fire on Avowed that just went live, the deepest dive in Onimusha.
Watched it just before this.
Hey, thanks, Jacob. But all this stuff, there's a lot going on here at MinnMax, and it is all possible because of Patreon supporters. So if you've enjoyed our content recently, consider jumping in. Patreon.com/MinnMax with 2 N's. If you jump in this week before Monday, February 10th, we will DM you a Steam code for Tetris Forever, which is one of my favorite games from last year. The one that's a digital interactive documentary is a better way to put it, through the history of Tetris, where you get to play all these different versions of Tetris and see videos and understand Tetris in a way that you never could before. That is all with Tetris Forever from Digital Eclipse. So support us on Patreon before this coming Monday. At any tier, we will DM you on Patreon with a Steam code for Tetris Forever. Thank you for making all this possible. We have 65 codes remaining. So we're out of codes when we hit 5,600 total Patreon supporters. We'll also message on all of our social media when we are officially out. But currently we have 65 left, so jump in there. And if we're below 5,600 Patreon supporters, you'll get a code for Tetris Forever. Thank you so much for making it all possible. We're trying our best, and we definitely had some drop off after the GOTY debates. People kind of jumped in for the GOTY debates, and now we're in a bit of a free-for-all for Patreon support. So you can jump in, get a code. It's time. The time is great to jump in and support MinnMax on Patreon.
We'll do a pissy zone every week. We'll do whatever you want.
Piss wherever you want, please.
I mean, we kind of did a Patreon exclusive pissy zone where we had 8 of us for the cohort Hootenanny, which is a bonus podcast. So it's the
true.
closest you're going to get to
Was that a pissy zone? I mean, Ben always gets bullied in those. I feel a little bad.
Also, Ben shared stories from like him going on dates, which I feel like is look, that's worth the money alone.
That's right. And going behind the scenes and hanging out in the green room with Nikki Glazer recently. Not connected. It was not a date with Nikki. How dare you everybody assume that? I know what you're all thinking.
Or maybe it was. And they have to support to find out, Ben.
That's so cruel. But also in that bonus podcast feed, there is the deepest dive in Onimusha, which 3 of the 4 of us were on, also joined by Kyle and Michael Huber from Easy Allies. Thanks everybody for the patience with that going up. We cover the first half of the game, and it's one of those things of like, it's accidentally the perfect timing to talk about Onimusha, it turns out, because there's that Capcom spotlight this week where they showed more or talked a little bit more about the new Onimusha that's coming in 2026 called
they arguably showed less, but they did talk about it more.
Yeah, it was funny just to hear like their messaging for the new Onimusha. The thing that stuck with me is them saying, this is not going to be impossibly difficult, I think was the terminology, which is as clear messaging, I think, as you can get in terms of just like, look, it's a guy with a sword in Japan. It's not going to be like a Souls-like game. You'll be able to get through this thing. Please don't be scared off by Capcom's Onimusha. Did anything else stand out to y'all now that you're Onimusha super fans about the new one coming up?
No, I just suddenly care a little bit about this thing that I hadn't before.
Yeah, I know
think that's
what
really the
his
biggest
thing
change.
It turns out it's a cool gauntlet thing. So they did promise that drama will unfold in the new Onimusha Way of the Sword. So stay tuned for that, everybody.
What? Really?
But it was
pre-ordering right now. Click.
But it was
I thought
weird.
It was going to be comedy.
It was a weird thing because then they also had the big reveal of the remaster for Onimusha 2. Coming 6 years after the first remaster, which a lot of us are playing for the deepest dive here, but it just out of left field.
Start after calling them remasters or come up with a new word.
We're getting to that
also,
point.
we just got Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, which came out 20 years after the first remaster. So come on, Onimusha.
Yeah, it's kind of game on. But Onimusha 2, the remaster is coming out in 2025. So again, it's like perfect, strange timing for the deepest dive. I'm curious to see when it's going to drop, but like I want to jump into this thing after finishing up that first game for the deepest dive. But enough about Onimusha stuff. Let's talk about most anticipated games for 2025. It's nice just to have this podcast to unpack what can people look forward to this year. What is actually going to be coming up here? Who should go first? Who feels most eager? Who's most burning for a game coming out this year?
How many? I think at some point you said 3.
Yeah.
But then I have 6.
I have a lot.
But I assume that other people will say some of them.
Yeah. What do you think is like your number one though?
Well, I wrote Hollow Knight Silksong, ha 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 ha.
Okay.
So if that indeed comes out this year, absolutely my most anticipated.
Really, I never really heard you talk about Hollow Knight that much. Is that really a hugie for you?
Yeah, I mean, I played that like the year it came out before it was on Switch, which felt like it was a game that kind of had a second release where it was like when it came out on Switch, because it was also near the Switch's release, people were like, oh my God, this is the greatest game ever. And I was like, I know, I played it last year. But I've probably beaten it like 3 or 4 times, like all the way through, getting like the true ending. Like it's a game where like as soon as I start playing it, I'm like, I am going to play this through all the way to the end because it feels so good. The music is so good. The sense of exploration is so good. And like, as much as we, make fun of Team Cherry for kind of announcing this game and then not really, saying much on it for years, like I have zero doubt that when it comes out, we're all going to be like, yep, worth the wait.
Yeah. And it's nice to have their like signs of life every once in a while from social media, just being like, it is still being worked on. We're here. We're technically still on the earth putting code into a game called Hollow Knight Silksong. Stay tuned, everybody. But
this is very much in the same vein for me as like we heard about the Switch 2 for so long that I am now like annoyed when I hear about it instead of excited.
Right.
And I'll get over that.
The line.
Yeah. What's your number one, Kelsey?
Oh, it's Monster Hunter, of course.
Of course.
Yep.
Which, I don't really have that much interesting to say about because, there's going to be another beta test this weekend. We've already gotten a chance to play it a little bit, both through the beta tests and I played a little bit at PAX. And I am so excited for I'm always excited for a Monster Hunter. I've been playing since like the 3DS era. But this time I'm really excited because I actually think some of you guys are going to play with me.
Yep.
And it's going to be cool and we're going to have a great time. And I am a little nervous though about like if there's any I've been playing for a long time. I have not done anything remotely approaching like mastering all the weapons or anything like that. So if one of you guys is like, hey, how do I do dual blades? I'll be like, heck if I know. I don't know. Good luck with that.
Copy what I'm doing. Exactly. Yeah, we were talking about it like in the reaction stream that we did for that Capcom Spotlight about like, I know it's not fun to hear it if you're a podcast listener, but like we rarely ever play games together unless it's for content. Like it's Haley and Leo, I think, will maybe play the finals or something. Other than that, it's like radio silence. I do feel like there's something about it though. Like I think I got close with Helldivers. I think you all played a little bit of Helldivers together, but it is a weird feeling of just like, why aren't we streaming this? It's nice not to be streaming and just be able to have game time, but then it's like,
it's really nice to not stream sometimes. Like playing Call of Duty with Jacob and Blake, for example, like it's so nice when that's just
so one of
out.
the 2 times that we've done that, we were like, Haley, do you want to play? And you were like, I'm streaming. But yeah.
Is that cool? Yes. Okay.
It's just a weird feeling to be like, oh man, we're going to be playing Monster Hunter and Sarah's going to have some killer jokes and the MinnMax community will not get to hear it. And I feel like I'm stabbing them in the back. That's the problem, you know? But
yeah, that's fair.
No, we're playing together, Kelsey. It is happening.
Okay.
Like, yes.
All right. Pinky promise?
Yes, guaranteed.
I want to try playing with you guys
Pinky
too.
promise.
I want to play too.
Pinky's
raised. Up. All right. I accept this.
Do you think Monster Hunter Wilds, do you think it'll outsell Monster Hunter World?
That's a really good question. Monster Hunter World broke containment in a way that like really shocked me. I distinctly remember the moment I realized it was I was sitting on the bus and there were like a couple of 19-year-old frat boys behind me who were like talking about taking down a Rathalos. And I was like, what? Like just average people are playing this game now. And so I do think that because we have now had a Monster Hunter that's broke containment, I do think that's going to happen again. And I think it might even be bigger this time because all of those people who played World, I assume, liked it enough that they're going to be like, oh, this is the next, quote unquote World. Because there's been Monster Hunters in between, but I get that it's not the same playing something on PS5 as it is on Switch.
I will say, Capcom has that thing that I wish every publisher had where they just say exactly how many copies they've sold of each game. And their number 1 is World, but number 2 is Rise. So it's like, I think that it's possible that like World obviously brought in a ton of people, but like, I think Rise probably brought in a ton of people as well. And now both of those, it's like, I kind of haven't touched a Monster Hunter since World, but I'm ready to come back. Yeah. And I think probably all the Rise people are going to be in. So I think it's going to be big.
A big part of it too, at least in the way I've been talking about it with people, is like Monster Hunter used to be a kind of, it used to be a difficult to get into game. Like you used to kind of have to have a friend who was already into
100%.
it to shepherd you in and explain all of the things to you and make sure that you're mixing your hot drinks and your cold drinks and you're bringing all your paintballs and all of the correct things. And so much of that is just baked in now. And you don't, these different like drinks and items and stuff are either obsolete or you can just go back to camp at any time. And I think just being able to tell people like, no, it's different now. It's just a regular game that you don't have to print out a spreadsheet for and make sure you're like bringing all of the correct stuff. I think that has really opened it up and made it far less of a niche game than it probably ever should have been.
Yeah.
Is that really just menu improvements, Kelsey? Do you think? Like besides the combinations and stuff? But I remember being this was before Worlds. I've played like 10 hours of Worlds and I've dabbled and I don't even know their names. That's how low I've dabbled. But just, the memorization of what do I need to get this next piece of equipment. I was just like, I don't want to write any of this down or remember it all. And if you don't play for a day and a half, you forget what you were even doing. Did that get improved a lot over the years, you find?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's still, I don't remember if there's like something in the menu that tells you, oh, now you can craft this thing or whatever. But just, yeah, so many of the other little things that were standing in the way are gone now. So it used to be like, if you're going to a cold place, you need to remember to make hot drinks, which you have to gather items for and then mix together or purchase. And then you have to bring the hot drinks and you have to take them every, like, I forget the timing, but like every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes when they wear off. Otherwise, you are slowly taking damage the entire time. And it's just stuff like that they just were like, never mind on that. Like, you go to a cold place, it's fine.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that this will be the first one, I think, that's launching day and date on Steam. And I'm curious to see how much of an impact that has. Like, you know, hopefully the PC version is going to be in good shape, but that could be another thing that really helps elevate and kind of get this social consciousness rolling.
I don't know if that's... Did the PC one came out later?
For World, yes.
For World, it was like later that year.
Because I remember, like, I got a code to play that at Game Informer, which was one of the very few that I did, I think because they just needed someone to, like, co-op.
Yeah.
And it was on PC, but I guess
really
they were just testing it. Yeah, because I didn't have other consoles in Minneapolis. I don't know.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, I looked up. It was like 7 months later or something. I think it came out on Steam back in 2018 for that one. That is also Sarah's most anticipated game of the year is Monster Hunter Wilds. And then anybody want to guess what else is on Sarah's list?
Does Fields of Mystery account?
It probably would, but she didn't list it because she's a class.
That's my like shout out.
Yeah, maybe Expedition's crawling up there, but no, she lists Elden Ring, Night Rain.
Oh, of course.
Sure.
And then Inzoi. She's deeply curious about.
She's really into figuring out what Inzoi is.
Which is that weird Sims-like, but everything looks like GTA 5. It's just the weirdest looking damn game.
It's every time I see that game, I think about the fact that everyone I know who plays Sims, or like whose Sims is their favorite game, plays it on a laptop that barely plays Sims. You know, that sounds like a jet engine taking off. And the idea of them trying to run Inzoi on like a 2014 MacBook is just exploding.
It's going to be sweet for sure. What's yours, Haley? Your most anticipated?
Grand Theft Auto 6.
Don't be so disappointed as you're saying it. You can have pride.
Obvious. It's just, come on. It's like, I was thinking the other day, I was like, are there any games coming out this year that I'm going to take a day off work for? Because it's like, it's always so fun when you're like, I am so excited for this. If it comes out on a Friday, I'm taking the GD day off. And it's like, I think only Grand Theft Auto 6 kind of has that vibe for me. I'm so excited to get done with the tutorial and then finally get to the point where you just go explore. Because I'm not going to do a main mission the whole first day I play this. I'm just going to explore and like run around. That's the best part of Grand Theft Auto. I can't wait.
Is this going to be the biggest video game launch in our entire lives? Like
until Grand Theft Auto 7 or something.
I mean, I think
which we might not live to.
I mean,
oh God, don't say that.
The build up, I mean, of GTA 5 to becoming the best selling game of all time, or damn near it. I don't know. It's probably like Tetris or something. Is a confusing number.
I think it's the best. I think Minecraft's kind of close to it, but I think it's still the highest grossing.
I mean, even if Minecraft 2 was coming out, I really feel like GTA 6 is going to be a bigger launch. I just don't know if we'll ever had that peak of like the last entry was so long ago and it was the biggest damn thing, biggest media product ever made by man. Like, this is going to be so huge. Like
huge.
That day that you actually get to boot it up.
All my indie clients are not thinking of not releasing like within 3-month windows of when this game's coming out, and they're making like visual novels and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, even they are frightened of the release date of this game. It's just
because there's not a single person who's not going to purchase it and play it.
Exactly. It's like, not only will like the open world game like market be destroyed, but every game market is anticipated to be sucked in by the black hole that is Grand Theft Auto 6 that they don't want to be near within like a whole quarter window. Like, that's crazy that every genre is scared of it.
What was the last biggest launch? You know, I'm thinking of like Elden Ring was like on the cover of like the New York Times arts and culture section or something. And I remember thinking like, wow, that's big. And obviously there was a lot of anticipation for that, but I do feel like it was still kind of within, it was like anticipation within the crowd who like watches the Game Awards or something. And GTA 6 is, it's like your coworker who hasn't like bought a console since the PS3 will buy a PS5 to play GTA 6.
Yeah.
Was it New Horizons, maybe? Like everyone was begging
Animal Crossing?
Nintendo
That's
for that to come out
interesting.
a week early. Remember that? Everyone was like, please God, just
That
come
was
out
definitely
earlier.
like an extenuating
COVID.
circumstances
Yeah.
thing, though. Like, I mean, there was a lot of hype for that game, but I think that was very clearly influenced by, everyone being stuck at home.
I think, Backstage Pass is saying Cyberpunk. That's a contender,
Yeah.
I think.
Oh,
that was
yeah.
that was
Yeah.
a pretty huge
It just
deal.
sucks that the follow-up of the hype was disappointment, though, at that time.
Yeah,
So
right.
it hits
and
different.
the GTA launch is also going to be messy, but yeah, the Cyberpunk whiplash of before it came out, anyone who gave it an 8, people were like, how could you say that greatest game of all time? And then when it came out, everyone was like, this is broken, you can't play it at all.
Unlisted, please. Yeah. And now it's good again. My most anticipated. I feel like every time we do one of these episodes, I realize like, oh, I'm just a stupid, boring guy. If I was a gym leader for Pokemon, I'd be normal type according to you
don't
two.
say that.
Well,
Don't say that.
wait
You guys
till-
can't- I think we're all beating ourselves up on our most anticipated picks.
You're right,
We
you're
should
right.
be a little more positive about this.
You're right. I'm proud.
We're very cool and interesting.
the game that
I'm basic and I'm proud.
for me, it's Jurassic Park Survival, which is
fun.
That's
Hey,
a fun
thanks.
pick.
Hey,
you mean? That's-
thanks
that's
everybody.
fun.
I do feel good about myself now. Yeah, I just feel like all my most anticipated is always like, I don't know what's tickling my '90s funny bone. Give me some nostalgia feels and I'll be golden. But
That
yeah,
feels illegal.
It really
Tickle your
should be.
90s funny bone.
but yeah, this is the game that's from Saber Interactive, who of course just did Space Marine 2. It's like, hey, damn solid game. And so they're saying that Jurassic Park Survival is coming out in 2025. And if it is just Alien Isolation, but on the island, and like the whole premise, right, is like, oh, you didn't evacuate from the island, so you're stuck on Nublar with all the dinosaurs, and it takes place after the movie, like that's going to be mission accomplished. I love that Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official game of the movie, game so much. And if it's just like that, if I get to like have a T-Rex chasing me in the woods and I have to run and hide inside of a building in time, like that's going to be so damn fun.
Yeah.
So I'm
I
curious to
forgot
see.
how good the trailer for this looks. I know it's just like rendered scenes or whatever, but it looks
Totally.
really good.
Yeah, even if it is just, do you remember the movie that you watched a couple times in the 90s? But yeah, I'm a sucker for that for sure. And if they like try and connect to the hype, maybe around that Jurassic World Rebirth movie and stuff, like maybe this thing could come out in the summer as well, because I think that's coming out in July, but we'll see. But
Do
I'm
you think they'll have like a line in there about the electricity being out?
guaranteed.
You think they'll expand on that idea?
I think they need to. Yeah, it's rich narrative fuel ready for them if they're bold enough to accept the truth about what that line means. Let's see. I guess we should just keep lobbing stuff out for most anticipated. What else y'all got?
Yeah. After Silksong, it probably tied with Silksong. Death Stranding 2.
I don't know a game called Death Stranding 2.
Oh, sorry, Death Stranding on the beach.
Oh, Death Stranding 2 on the
which
beach. Yeah.
I want to say, one, I adore that subtitle. Like, it's weird to be excited about a subtitle because, like, okay, sure, the first game like had a beach as like a primary thing, but like, I am sure Kojima is familiar with like the novel and movie On the Beach, which is this like really incredible story about like there's a nuclear Armageddon that wipes out basically the entire world, and the book takes place entirely in Australia, and everyone in Australia just knows that like a radiation cloud is like drifting towards them and they're all going to die, and the book is just about like, what do you do? Like, there's nothing to be done, we're all gonna die, and it's called On the Beach.
Oh god.
But I love my Kojima, BS. I love him doing weird things, putting George Miller in the game. But like also, we made a big deal about like Death Stranding being the first kind of original IP that Kojima had done in a long time, and like the mechanical jump in Metal Gear Solid games was pretty huge from 1 to 2, and like, I think because we talk about the wackiness of Death Stranding so much, we forget just how mechanically fascinating that game is, and just the idea of like being able to cook on those locomotion mechanics and like do more with ropes and ladders and the strand type systems connecting different players' games. Like, I am really just excited for like what will be mechanically introduced in that game.
You're right. It's too distracting. It's just a dangly jewelry in front of you. Like, look here's a weird little stop motion animated puppet. Look over here, everybody. And so you don't really stop to think about like, oh yeah, this game's going to feel probably a lot better to play even than Death Stranding.
And some of in the trailer shots, just some of the like walking things. I mean, it's like the engine and the graphics look pretty unbelievable, and just like getting into locations that don't just look like Iceland and being able to walk around those is just so exciting.
Yeah, I feel like we're due. Remind me, put it on the damn calendar that like we should do not a deepest dive, but we should have an episode of the podcast where we all kind of check back in with Death Stranding, because it is a huge burning pyre on my pile of shame.
I play that.
I played 2 hours of it and I was like, I like this, and then it's just one of those.
Played 2 hours.
That's it.
How do you play 2 hours of Death Stranding?
2 hours is like
nothing
barely
or
past the
800
opening
hours.
cutscene.
Hey, look, I'm telling you, I feel shame. I don't need to accept more shame from y'all.
I'm like 2 trophies away from the platinum. I would go back just to get the final 2 trophies, baby. I have the whole highway done. Every highway part was done.
Yeah, me too.
That's like
I haven't even played 2 seconds, so
2 seconds? What do you mean you haven't even played 2 seconds?
that's worse than bed. Kelsey, what the hell are you doing?
You're now the worst one on the podcast.
I don't know. Every time it's explained to me, I'm like, that sounds awful.
It's so Kelsey, it's so awful, and it's my favorite thing. Do you know what I mean? That's
No.
what it's
I do.
so ridiculous, but I love it so much.
Okay, if it is like a yes, this is terrible in a great way, I feel like I can accept that much more than like,
It's not even-
no, walking everywhere forever is fantastic. You love it.
No, it's not. And it's not even like we spent so much time last year talking about like, Dragon's Dogma 2. It's great how it takes all the quality of life stuff away. This is not that. Like, it's not. It has like, checkpoints. You're allowed to do things. You walk a lot at the beginning, but the things are not that far apart. And like, really, the walking is there just to make it feel like so amazing when you can like get on a
bike.
motorcycle and drive somewhere, and then you get a truck. Like, I think you would enjoy it. I don't think it's like you have to be kind of ready to have a miserable time to get into it.
You have like
I
these
do
little
love
crams of
stacking
miserable
boxes.
times. Oh, you do be doing
Stacking
that.
boxes, love it. No, this sounds terrible. I don't want to have to think about boxes not falling over.
Okay,
The
that's
game
it.
loop
I'll
is
do
like
it.
is suffer and then improve your means of overcoming that suffering, and then you don't suffer anymore, and then you suffer again a little bit, and then you fix it. It's just like putting a band-aid on anything that ever annoys you so you don't have to do it again. Like, that is the gameplay loop, and it's so satisfying.
That just sounds like owning a small business.
Yeah, we can't all be as
Perhaps
lucky.
that's true.
Let's see. Kyle Hilliard over here. Death Stranding was his second most anticipated of the year. His number one. Anybody want to guess this one? It's a sequel. Second entry into a Sony franchise other than Death Stranding.
Ghost of Yote.
Ghost of Yote is Kyle's
Oh,
number
of
one.
course.
Yep. And then his number 3 is Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
That's my number 2.
Yeah?
Cool.
Was it the recent showing that kind of turned you around on it or kind of bumped it up a couple notches?
Honestly, I was I had kind of entirely ignored it until that point, and then like taking the time to actually sit down and be like, okay, yeah, like I see what they're going for here. I think this could be bad. I think this game might, like, there is a solid possibility that it's not good, but I am very intrigued by this studio and what their take is going to be on a JRPG. And I think the premise is interesting. It's you guys talked about it on a previous episode of the podcast, but like I'm sick of killing God. This is a slightly more interesting twist on that, and well, I don't know. I think it could be bad, but I'm very excited to see if it's good.
It's at least
I love
going to
games
be
like that.
interesting. Yeah, it is such an odd one. I think I've just had decades now of like, hey, we're a Western studio inspired by JRPGs. We're going to try and make a JRPG. And it's like, okay, you did all right. And this looks super promising, but
It's
still
the best
like
version of that I've seen.
Yeah.
Or most promising, I guess. Is
yeah,
probably
there's
the
just
best
this
way to put it.
feeling of dread, I think, from being burned so many times in the past that when you look at footage, like I'm looking at right now, it still looks awesome. And like they're saying all the right things. Everything I'm seeing looks right. It's just a matter of, I hope it all comes together because I think it's tough to make a big JRPG inspired game like this, especially for a newly formed studio over there. But it's out, in April. And so we're going to find out pretty darn soon here.
The tone of it seems very like nostalgic. You know what I mean? Like so often really intense RPGs that are open worlds, like we're super serious all the time. And I'm like, okay. But if you infuse a little bit of comedy into it, it makes me feel like I'm playing a 90s inspired RPG again. I don't know. Something about like being able to be goofy in these types of very high stakes games is like, what's the guy we all loved? Like even just introducing him in that last trailer, that big comedic
big
character.
balloon man.
Yeah. I'm like, I want to play this for 80 hours just because of him. Like I just like want characters like that inserted more.
Yep, totally. It looks cool. Clair, Obscur, Expedition 33. That is Janet's number 4 on the list. Anybody want to guess another one on Janet's list? She's tricky to guess.
She is tricky.
She's got a lot of range. She plays everything,
She does.
She has Doom, the Dark Ages on there.
Really?
Interesting. Is that just after the playthrough?
Yeah, she's Doom pilled now.
Yeah.
After Alana.
Yeah.
Doom
in a
guy?
good way.
I guess she's now the new Doom guy. But yeah, Dark Ages is up there. Is that up there for you, Jacob?
I put weirdly picking from the recent Xbox thing. I put Expedition 33 over Doom just because I think I'm more curious about it. But like, I've been revisiting Doom 2016 just kind of after excitement of like, hey, wait, I really like Doom, and like, it's so good, and I can't wait to play more of it. So it's like, in terms of games that I will definitely play all the way through, Doom is like near the top. It's just like a little more predictable, so I guess I'm not as excited for it.
Yeah. Another one that Janet has on our list, which I'm also very curious about, and I know Leo's really looking forward to it as well, is the Altars.
Oh, I forgot about the Altars.
Forgetting about.
That game looks so cool.
That 11-bit game, where it's your clones of yourself in that sci-fi setting, and it looks systems focused, and you have different stats and all these stuff for your different clones, and you're arguing with your clones about your past.
It's like alternate dimension versions of yourself, and so like one of them got divorced and then one didn't, and then you like yell at each other for getting divorced or not.
Yeah, but it's totally just like the Sim stuff that they show of like, okay, you're building out this giant wheel that's cruising around on an alien planet, and
it looks like that Fallout mobile game almost with the different bunkers.
Or just kind of like the bunkers in XCOM Enemy Unknown, like that idea of just kind of building that base out with different versions of yourself, and you're having conversations with yourself. Like it, all the ingredients are feeling good in this one, and it's going to be some twisted, dark stories. So yeah, I can't wait for
when
the
Altars. When is that supposed to come out? Does it have a window or no?
It's a wonderful question. And I'm going to just think really hard about it.
I could have just Googled it myself instead of putting you on the spot. My bad, Ben.
No, it's all good. March 2025, apparently.
Oh, that's soon.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have a date yet. And that's next month.
Suspicious. All right, we'll see.
That's interesting.
That's the Altars. And then Janet's, her number 1 is like, oh, of course, that makes more sense. Which is the new Don't Nod game, Lost Records, Bloom and Rage.
Bloom and Rage.
Yeah.
I'm excited to play that too.
Yeah, curious how that ends up.
After the little bit of bad taste that the latest Life is Strange game sort of left in my mouth, I'm excited to try this like same genre type of thing from them, and it looks promising. I think it looks cool.
Yeah. Leo's is easy to guess. It's his most anticipated game from 2024 that then got delayed. Obviously, we don't even need to say it. Everybody listening, you know what the game is in your head.
Right, yeah, we all know it.
Streets of Rogue 2, everybody. Streets of Rogue 2 is the game that you can't wait. That's
sorry, Leo.
Super systemic, co-op, kind of isometric. You can do absolutely everything in this little open world that kind of looks like a GTA 2 style thing. But yeah, it keeps getting bumped back just a couple months at a time. But I know you can't wait to.
Am I wrong in thinking it's in early access though right now? Like you can play it, right? Or is that wrong?
I don't think so. No, I think it was supposed to come out like at the end of last year. But now they're just saying 2025 ambiguously, I think, for Streets of Rogue 2.
Maybe they've just done like you can. Like weekends or something you can play. I feel like I remember Leo talking about how he
there was a Steam Next Fest demo.
Oh, okay.
That's what it was, yeah. You know what game, and I know in the pre-show we were talking a little bit about this, but you know what game I've been thinking more and more about and how I'm excited about it is that new Pokemon Legends game.
Yes, that's on my list too.
Okay, good. Yeah,
that's
Pokemon
on my
Legends
list too.
ZA. It was just a weird thing of thinking about that. They're like, it's been a while now since I've played a Pokemon game. I've kind of been craving.
I'm really craving Pokemon game right now.
Yeah, like if they come out every year every year and a half, it's like, all right, enough already. Even a couple years back when we had 2 in the 1 year with Violet and Scarlet and Pokemon Legends Arceus, it's like, all right, I love this, but it's a lot. But like the timing is right for like a big new weird Legends game, and that's what I want. Like if it's just an evolution.
That's exactly how I feel.
Yep, yeah. I'm sure
it's been just enough time. I don't like it when they're releasing every single year, but if you just give us a little more space, then we're like craving it, and then it's fun again, and it's not like a chore where I'm like, well, I play every Pokemon game, so I gotta play this one.
Yep. But if it is just like, kind of like Arceus of a little more wild, a little more free form, but then at the same time, there's some city building aspect that there seemed to be teasing in that reveal trailer, like building out Lumio City or whatever the hell's going on there. Like, I want Game Freak to get a little weird with it. If I'm looking for the core Pokemon formula, I can go back to an older game, but I hope as kind of presumably their swan song for the Switch, it's a weirdo experience.
There's been whispers that it's a launch title for Switch 2 as well.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll see, but that'd be nice.
I think I'm in the camp of everybody always being like, well, of course this is going to launch on Switch 2 as well. Of course Metroid Prime 4 is going to launch on Switch 2. It's like, Nintendo can be pretty tight with that stuff. Like, they're happy to capitalize on that big audience. Don't just think, well, this obviously makes sense, that therefore Nintendo's going to do it. I feel like we've run into that trap.
They're launching with a new Mario Kart game. That's all they need to release for the entire console's history.
No, absolutely true.
If you look at Pokemon releases, though, because I've been craving one, so I would look to see how long the space is between each generation. And the last, I think, 4 generations have been 3 years almost on the dot, like within the month. It's always 3 years from the last generation release. So this coming November is, if they keep following that, is the new generation when it's supposed to come out.
Okay.
And like, at least when Arceus came out, it came out January, and then the new generation Pokemon Scarlet Violet came out in November. And now that this is coming out sooner than that new generation, I feel like they might break their own 3-year rule, and we'll see a later generation of the next actual Pokemon game.
I think that
makes
makes
sense. Which is kind of a bummer, because I kind of feel like the big media, Scarlet and Violet was so jank that, Arceus was the best Pokemon game they've released, I think, in the last almost decade, potentially.
I do feel like and maybe this is an insane take, but just as there are more and more generations, I feel like there needs to be a little bit more space in between them, because we're over 1,000 Pokemon now. So like, I'm by Scarlet and Violet, I was getting to the point where I felt like the last generation of new Pokemon had not like had a chance to marinate and seep into my consciousness. And so like the last 3 generations all blend together for me. And I feel like if maybe there was just a little more space between them, more time for that, new 100 Pokemon to kind of just germinate and become themselves. I don't know. Like the last generation was they just took a bunch of Pokemon and they're like, this is them if they were in the future, this is them and if they were in the past. And it wasn't just a variant, like they added them to the Pokédex as that. And I'm like, that's lazy. Like, give me new, exactly. They need more time and not do stuff. Like there was Screamtail, which was just Jurassic Park Jigglypuff. And I'm like, just make a new Pokemon. They did all have names like that, which was an interesting choice. I do like when they do weird stuff, but that was one where I was like, I didn't really see the vision. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
But then again, what was the one that was like Goblin Ghoul or whatever, the cool treasure chest guy? He was great.
Gimme Ghoul.
Yeah.
We gave you one in your Pokemon team, right?
Oh, that's
you
right.
got the cheese string guy. Number 1000 Pokemon Goldigo. I want.
Well, yeah.
This was on a bonus spot, I think.
Cheese string guy.
It's perfect. Does anyone want to guess Jeffum's number 1 game? If it comes out this year?
Balatro.
It's Balatro.
Well, I know because one of Jeffum's is Slay the Spire 2, which is on my list.
Yeah.
But I know that's not his number 1.
What if I told you it rhymes kind of with Slay the Spire?
Slay the Spire.
That's right, Jacob Geller.
Vampire Bloodlines
2. That's right, Jeff. I'm sorry. You need to play it all the way through. No, it's Light No Fire from Hello Games.
Oh, the No Man's Sky game.
Yeah. If presumably it comes out in 2025, which that seems like an easy one to bump since they're still working the tech back into No Man's Sky.
They just added 1 trillion planets to No Man's Sky.
Yeah, we got to get through all those.
Last week.
For free.
Take a break.
But Light No Fire, it's one of those, it's like, I keep forgetting the name of it. I need to remember to elevate my anticipation for Light No Fire, because I feel like the next time we see it, if it's just like in a big extended state of play section or something, it could really wow us once we learn a little bit more, other than just, it's No Man's Sky, but it's on one planet and there's a bunch of weird fantasy stuff, which even that premise alone sounds awesome. But
that could be a fun one for us to play, like off stream sort of vibes, because maybe not that much interesting would happen, but it'd still be fun to experience that game. You know?
Yeah, for sure. What else has everybody got?
Ninja Gaiden 4.
Ninja Gaiden 4. Correct.
Sword guy. That's it.
Yeah.
Big, flashy sword action.
Yep. Perfect.
Split Fiction.
Yeah.
From,
yeah.
It Takes Two devs.
That does look cool.
That's the thing. Is like,
Can't wait to play it with my partner.
That's it. It's like it's so genius and it's so connected to like who you're gonna play it with. Where for me, it's like, oh, if I could stream this entire game with Ronnie again, like we did for It Takes Two, like that sounds like a really damn good time. And so this is kind of baked into the pie at this point.
I already know I'm going to play it 3 times. Once with my partner, once with my best friend, and once with my sister. Like, that's how much I trust that they're going to do a good job again, like they did with It Takes Two. It's fun that it's so quick. I feel like It Takes Two wasn't even that, 2021. Was it actually kind of long ago? Weird. Time's an illusion. I guess so. But I'm excited.
Yeah, there's, I know people more and more are kind of bashing It Takes Two and like, oh, the divorce premise, blah, blah, blah. But like the gameplay is incredible. And also like,
it's so fun to play.
I would gladly play a game about divorce where little toy weirdos. Like that premise is so much more interesting to me than Split Fiction so far of like, what if it's a bunch of sci-fi stuff and a bunch of fantasy stuff? It's like, I'd rather have weird family struggles in an attic. That sounds way cooler to me.
The daughter was just so annoying. She almost became the antagonist for me when I was playing with my various friends. Just like every time she came on screen, she'd be like, "Mommy, I don't know where my doll is." And we were like, "Shut up, shut up!" Like it almost made it more fun.
I feel like we as a culture have not really grappled with that elephant scene in It Takes Two.
Crazy.
Like I've considered doing like an entire essay on that, just being like, what is this game doing right now?
I would love to hear an essay on that scene alone, like a 20-minute essay on the one. That and the eyeball vacuum cleaner. That was also a bit too messed up.
Yeah, but you want like national emergency like address from the Resolute desk of someone just being like, hey, we need to actually talk about that.
Especially now, yes.
It'd be nice, I think, yeah. But yeah, Split Fiction, it's coming out damn soon. Isn't it just early March, I think?
I think it's March, yeah.
Yeah. God, yeah, that team is flying with this stuff. Another one for me is Baby Steps.
Oh, that game looks so silly.
Is that the Bennett Foddy one?
Yep, it's Bennett Foddy. It's the same team that made Ape Out, which is one of our favorite games from that year when it came out. But the whole premise is, hey, you're an unemployed guy named Nate, and then it's going to be wacky physics game where you realized for the first time in your life that you can just get up and start walking around. And so it's just walking out the door and presumably what's happening to you as you're exploring this world for the first time. And so just having, silly Bennett Foddy physics game, I know it's going to be a good time. If there's just like that silly thread of a narrative kind of bringing you along through it, I think it's going to be a surprisingly good time.
A streamer game, if it was really good. You know what I mean? Like there's those kitschy, like we just made this so it's fun to stream, but like what if it was that, but also about like humans and life?
Well, that's kind of what I'm curious about is like, to what level is it going to be QWOP getting over it?
Yep.
Only go up. Like, am I going to be able to play it as a normal person with a normal level of patience? Because like I appreciate all of those like intentionally hard to play, incredibly frustrating games, but like I'm not spending a lot of time with them.
So like you want the Onimusha message of this will not be impossibly difficult.
Yeah, I guess I just don't. I'm not sure. I don't think it is because it seems linear, but I don't want it to be I fall and I lose like 4 hours of progress.
Yep.
Like that sort of
that's
game.
what it is. I'm only going off the trailer, but it really feels more like you they want you to get to A to B because they have a lot of jokes to give you in the in-between. So while you'll look stupid while you walk because like the mechanics of it look really dumb, you'll still be able to, and it won't be as like QWOP is insanely hard. I've tried to get over it. I can get like 2 rocks up and I fall. I don't think it's that vibe.
Yeah.
I think they want you to beat it.
Yep. But Baby Steps is the name of that thing from Devolver. Curious to see what it's like when it launches. Does everybody have Wanderstop on their list, I presume?
Yeah.
How are we feeling about Wanderstop these days?
I want to know nothing about it. I almost kind of am purposefully not like I don't even know if any trailers come up. I don't think so, but I kind of don't want to learn anything about it. Ben, take the trailer off the feed.
Sorry, close your damn eyes.
I'm worried because I don't like cozy games that much. And so this is a weird one where it's like, you love cozy games. What if it was about something? And I'm like, I love Davey Wreden. I don't know that I'm like in with this genre. So I'm worried that I'm going to be like forcing myself through a bunch of cute tea shop making to get to like the interesting story parts.
Yeah.
That never tickles your brain? Like you've never been appealed to that kind of game before?
No, I mean, it's like I've played kind of like, you know, idle, easy games or whatever, but just like the cozy aesthetic doesn't really do anything for me. I mean, like the closest that I feel like I get is like Life is Strange 1, which is still like a game where that's like focused on a narrative.
Right.
I mean, I think this one is also going to be focused on the narrative. I think
that's just
cozy.
what I don't. I just don't know how much of it is kind of like what proportion of story to gameplay it is.
Yeah, so, you know, Davey Wreden, if you don't remember, Wanderstop here, co-creator of Stanley Parable, and then he made Beginner's Guide, which is Jacob's favorite game of all time. What did you think of that last trailer where he kind of talked about how, I thought it was an interesting approach for a trailer, for him just explaining like, oh, I'm making this game because I got so fried by the last couple games I made, and so I realized I needed an escape, and then making this cozy game was my escape, and it's going to be kind of an expression of trying to recover from burning out in the game industry.
It's weird, and I'm kind of hoping that he's maybe doing a deeper thing, because like the beginner's guide is so much like about not just assuming that you know what's going on in the artist's head, that him being like, this is what's going on in my head and that's why I made this game, is like, I'm kind of like, I don't necessarily want that, but I also think that he is clever enough that like, I think that we're kind of seeing one level of interesting subtext with this game, and I'm anticipating it potentially having like more going on than just what the trailers have shown us, and that's what I'm excited for.
Like art is alive vibes, like he's just saying all this to set it up to be something totally different when we actually play it.
Not necessarily, but just like if it was anyone else, I would see that trailer and kind of be like, I think I know what the end of this game is going to be, and I trust Wreden enough that I don't think I'm right in terms of like what the ultimate message of this is going to be about.
But also at the same time, like I do worry about people building this up. If it's like, hey, it's like a cozy game where you're a former adventurer and now you're just kind of serving tea in this experience. If people are like, okay, all right, Mr. Stanley Parable, okay, I'm waiting for the twist. Where's it going? Like, if there isn't a twist and it's just like, oh, some interesting themes in the subtext of this game, which is probably, if you're a gambling person, where you'd want to go with the odds are for what they're making, at least what they're messaging at this point. Like, I just don't want people to go in expecting this thing to be Stanley Parable, because you can really only do that trick once.
I'm not hoping for like Inception level, like, oh, it's actually a first person shooter. But like, I just want the theme to be a little more than like, sometimes it can be hard to settle down, but that's what you need to do to make great art. I'm like, okay, you could just tell me that sentence and I don't need to play a game about it. But I don't think that's going to be all there is.
Yeah, quit, Davey, quit.
Explain what you're trying to say, and that's it.
I'd be really interested in the inverse almost, to that if there are, it's a lot more depth to this than anticipated, but upon glance and in the Nintendo eShop, it looks like a cozy game. Like people like my sister-in-law who just play anything that looks like this, they'll download it, start playing, and then like in the third act, everything goes crazy. Like that'd be interesting to hear.
I think that's almost best case scenario. Like I'm hoping that people have exactly that happen to them.
Me too.
Yeah, I hope it's tricking people into playing a more interesting game than it looks like.
Yes, yeah, that could be, yeah. But it's coming out March 11th for Wanderstop there.
A lot of merch.
A lot of smirch. Another one from Leo here, up there with Streets of Rogue 2, is what might be one of the funniest games of the year, which is Kingmakers. Do you remember this game?
Oh, yeah.
I banged this last year with our game
you can't
duel
say that
thing.
Please, Jacob. It's coming out in the first quarter of 2025, but this is the one where, yeah, imagine Dynasty Warriors, but it's all medieval stuff, but you're going back in time with like a
Ford
Chevy.
F-150.
Yeah, exactly. And just like, just a bazooka and a helicopter and stuff. And so it's like, I can't think of another example where a game came out of nowhere and everyone saw the trailer and they're like, yep, with capital letters. I've always wanted this type of game. And if this is going to be the one to give me this stupid fantasy, all in. So we'll see. We'll see what Leo's experience is like with Kingmakers. Other stuff that people are burning about?
Big Walk.
Yeah, Big
by
Walk.
House, the Untitled Goose people. That is supposedly coming out this year. I don't think it has a date yet, but they have said so little about this, and all it looks like is these strange little. How do you describe these strange spherical stacks of bird-looking dudes?
They kind of look like corporate logos from the 90s.
Yeah,
they've got like that wiggly feel.
It's like the first draft of Roly Poly Oly, if you remember that iconic character. Yeah,
it's Roly Poly Oly, exactly. And it's supposedly just hang out with your friends, a big world. There's some challenges and puzzles and random stuff, and it is going to be one of those games, hopefully, that's just like, do you like hanging out with your friends, but you're kind of bored? We've solved that.
Yep.
It's just going to be full of fun, weird things for you guys to do, and you're going to have a good time.
Yep, that's it. Yeah,
I'm happy that you're into this, Kelsey, because I remember seeing the trailer and thinking, why does this remind me of Kelsey? And I can't really name why this game reminds me of you, but it just kind of does.
I guess
Big Roly Poly Oly fan.
Yeah, people are always saying it. Yeah, it's Panic publishing that thing. Maybe that's why you thought of it, because we went to Panic, and they mentioned it maybe in that video once. But yeah, Big Walk, that seems great.
I'm excited for Little Nightmares 3.
Oh,
I'm a
okay.
big Little Nightmares fan. And what's the other one that's coming out this year? They're so confusing right now because they have there's two games coming out that are the same.
It's not
but
called
different.
Manimal. It's Lamanimal. It has animal at the end.
It
right?
does.
It's something weird.
Reanimal.
Yes.
Reanimal. I'm excited for both Reanimal and Little Nightmares 3. I don't know which one because honestly their gameplay gets mixed up in my head, but I'm just excited for anything from that studio. I love their little diorama art style vibe of walking through, and I think they do really interesting things with story too. You think it's just going to be a go left to right, walk and scary things happen, but by the end of it you're like Googling what does the ending of Little Nightmares 2 mean kind of energy.
Yeah.
I love their vibes.
This does feel like, if we keep doing that series of like getting developers to talk to other developers, like getting the developers of Reanimal to talk to the developers of Little Nightmares 3, that seems like the biggest layup for just obvious overlap.
I feel like the studios wouldn't let you do that. They wouldn't want it to happen.
I'm worried for the Little Nightmares 3 team because from the trailers, it kind of seems like Reanimal's going to eat their lunch.
Yeah.
I was just way, way more into the Reanimal trailer, but I love the Little Nightmares game, and I want to give the new devs the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Reanimal is such a good name, too. That's a great name.
It's excellent.
I am excited for Skate Story,
Ooh,
the game where every time we see a trailer, we go, oh my God.
I don't know how it keeps having that impact. I swear to God, it just keeps popping up again and again, and every time it just blows my damn mind.
Which is, God, they had like a written out pitch of it that was like, this is the greatest like pitch of a video game. And it was like, You are a demon in the underworld made out of glass and pain. The devil has given you a skateboard with a simple deal. Skate to the moon and swallow it, and you shall be freed. That's it, baby.
You don't need any more than that. Every other game is overthinking it. Skate Story. And it's like, at some point we will have the conversation on the podcast this year of like, yeah, look, it's the most visually amazing thing I've ever seen. But like, does it feel like Tony Hawk level good? We're gonna have to have that stupid
We're gonna
chat.
be annoying about it.
Oh, we're gonna be
I'm
so
not
annoying.
really like a skating games kind of guy, and so like I think I'll be less demanding of the gameplay than like a Leo or a Blake or someone who's played tons of that, because I don't know how to do a ollie in real life, so I won't know if the game's getting it right or not.
Kelsey, have you ever played that, and I mainly think of you because it's rare and I assume expensive, have you ever played that Tony Hawk clone? Also,
Is it Go-Go Hypergrind? Is that what you're going to ask me about?
No, but I want to play that now.
Oh,
What
okay,
is
that's
that?
an expensive skating game.
Oh, no, it's the PS2 Disney game. That's the skateboarding
No,
game.
I haven't played it, but I am,
Skating game?
it is surprisingly popular. People say really nice things about it.
Yeah,
so.
I played it a couple weeks ago. It turns out it rules. If you want to like literally play with exactly Tony Hawk's mechanics and feel, but as Woody in Andy's room.
But
like,
Rafiki.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's dumb, but it's like, hey, it works surprisingly well. It's kind of cool.
I played this as a kid. What a throwback. Oh my God. I remember
Oh, really?
this.
Oh, funny. Yeah. What is the name of it?
Extreme Skate Adventure.
Of
Disney's
course.
Extreme Skate Adventure.
Of course, there it is. Let's see. I got some rapid fires for other stuff coming out this year. We can try and keep on the radar to some extent. Avowed coming out pretty damn soon. I think it's the 18th there. Assassin's Creed Shadows, we talked about last week. Atomfall, I'm really curious about, from the Sniper Elite team. It's like that new IP set in England. I'm curious to see how that goes. 2X.
Obviously, Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
We can all say that name perfectly every time.
It's coming up
But
very
also
soon.
the other one that I don't even know if it's coming out this year, but Project Century, they haven't really shown much of it, but it looks very, very cool. It's the Yakuza devs, and it's set in like 1915 or something like that.
I am working myself up into a tizzy thinking more about that game, because like, what if it is the premise of it's a Yakuza style game, but it's taking place over the course of a century, and it's like multi-generational in one town? Wouldn't that be awesome? If they're calling it Project Century and it's an old-timey game, I think it's possible.
I mean, it could just be a century ago.
It could be the turn of the century or something.
But that's so boring. I don't want to play some stupid old guy. But let's see. Atomfall, 2XKO from Riot, their fighting game. Curious to see how that goes, if they can pull off another big victory there. Borderlands 4. Everyone wants to be King Snark about it. I see the snark forming on your lips, Jacob, about Borderlands 4.
No, I want to like a Borderlands again. I loved those first two Borderlands.
It's got your main man writing for it.
Who?
Your main man. Rafiki. Now, what is his name? Mr. Strange Scaffold.
He's a great player.
Xavier Nelson. Yeah, he's like doing contract writing for Borderlands 4.
Yeah,
apparently.
I mean, I remember hearing that and being like, that is the most exciting thing I've heard about Borderlands 4.
Super weird. Deltarune, chapters 3 and 4 are coming out this year.
Yes.
That's going to be
I need
weird.
to play the first. I've always meant to play the first two chapters. I got to do that this year.
Yeah, this year I guess it's going to be the year where we all play through 4 chapters of Deltarune. That'll be funky.
Let's do
Follow
it.
up to Undertale. Dune Awakening, that MMO. Dying Light, the Beast, of course. Don't forget it. Fable. They still say it's coming out 2025, and
That's high for me.
I was looking back at that footage recently, editing into the rapid fire, and I was like, God damn, that game looks so good. I'm sure the footage is not, fully representative of what the game's actually going to look like, but I am feeling so optimistic about that game just because I love Forza Horizon so much.
Cairn, which I had a played the demo of that climbing game from the Game Bakers. I'm really excited about that one.
Yeah, good call. Also from Saber Interactive is that John Carpenter game, Toxic Commando. I'd be surprised if they do that and Jurassic Park in the same year, but we'll see. Judas from Ken Levine, another one that
I can't wait to play that.
I am so curious. That is going to be a big talker.
I hope we get a new word drop, a new ludonarrative dissonance word drop when that game comes out.
I will say, I was watching this interview with Ken Levine last week. I forget the YouTube channel, forgive me. But it was amazing that it was still him being like talking about the promise of narrative Legos. And it's like, it has been over a decade at this point. Like, I'm ready to see the proof in the pudding, but there's so many other games that have kind of like picked up on that loose idea. You can't still be like, what we are thinking is this rough concept called narrative Legos. Anyways, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, in theory, right? Mario Kart 9, in theory. And I made this list a while ago and it's no longer accurate because I had Earthblade on there, which was the follow-up from the team that made Celeste. I don't know if you saw that story of they just had a blog post and like, nope, it's not coming out. Our team kind of fell apart. There was a disagreement about the rights to Celeste and we were kind of swinging too big. It's not going to work out. So sorry, everybody, which is interesting message to get out there. But it's interesting just to be like a team that had the wild success of Celeste, be like, we're trying for something bigger and better. And then just be like, you know what? Nope. Let it be a lesson to other developers. If you have a big indie hit, don't just be like, and now let's do something 4 times as big. It's like, no, just, you can make small games again. Just stick to what you know. It's fine.
Yeah. Hopefully Celeste was successful enough for them that they can take, an L and just keep going and not have it mean, like the complete dissolution of their team or whatever.
Yeah, totally.
I know they kind of did split up.
Yeah. Yeah. But I thought it was nice in that message too, that like, the person they said they had the disagreement with, I think it was like the art director. They're like, yeah, but they're working on their own new game and you should support it because it looks cool. It's like, okay, that's the best kind of breakup you could hope for as a company, I suppose. Other things we missed for 2025? Comments, let us know. Any of y'all have something?
South of Midnight.
South of Midnight. Yeah, for sure. That'll be a big one.
My fingers are crossed for Wolf Among Us too, but I don't know if that's ever going to come out.
Wow. Yeah.
I think they had an announcement like 3 months ago. They're like, it's not canceled. So I'm like, that means it's not coming out this year if that's your announcement.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to see what we learn from the next Nintendo Direct, because it just kind of seems like we don't really know of anything interesting Nintendo's working on right now. We know of a Mario Kart and a Metroid, and I think that's kind of it. So
that's weird. Is that real? I mean, there's that weird cryptic like technical test thing they had for kind of that weird MMO thing.
I'm excited about that actually.
Yeah, let's see what that whole thing is. You're right. That is. I mean, I guess it should be expected with like a new console coming out and stuff, but it is just weird how empty that roadmap is for them. That's exciting for sure. And I mean, I bet there will be a Nintendo game in our top 6 for the 210s in 2025, and we just have no idea what it's going to be. You know,
like, it's giving like Valentine's Day
this year, though.
That's true.
That's true.
But
this year was quiet.
But this is like they're running on fumes. They're coasting. They have the car in neutral as they're going down the hill for the Switch. Like we're ready to get a whole new generation here.
I was gonna say it's giving Valentine's Day, and your partner hasn't indicated they've booked a time for like a date on the day, and you're like, it's getting kind of close. Are you gonna like? Have we booked a restaurant? You're like hoping they're gonna surprise you.
Yeah. And then on Valentine's Day, there's like Mario Odyssey 2. Here you go.
I'm like, babe, you knew.
Do you want us to send this podcast to your boyfriend, by the way, Haley? Or
no, I think we're good.
Okay, cool. Good. Great. Hey, a game that just came out that could use some more love based on how enthusiastic people are that are playing it. Citizen Sleeper 2, that we talked about a little while ago. Kelsey, how is Citizen Sleeper 2 fitting with you? You were a big fan of the first one?
It's great. Yeah, I really like this. It's a little bit of a twist in that it is... Honestly, it's a more stressful game, and they literally introduced a mechanic that is like the stress mechanic. But I think it has opened up so many interesting story beats through this. So you end up going, you know, it plays in that same kind of like a board game way as the first one, where you're rolling dice and those give you probabilities for, you know, going around different places and being able to accomplish things. But you also, first of all, you get to move around a heck of a lot more in this one. And you go on like contract missions that maybe all of them are optional. And there's just so many, I've already had so many interesting, like, the game will clearly give you maybe 2 different ways that something can go. But I've had times where I've gone out on a contract mission, I have gotten too, you know, I overextended too far. I thought I could pull something off and then got some bad rolls. And then just a completely different narrative path opens up. And I've had a really, really good time with every time that's happened. So I went on one where we were supposed to like extract something, and I failed and the ship fell apart. But instead of like dying, it was like we came back and the person I had gone on this mission with was like, look, that was kind of a bad idea in the first place, but I have this other way. We can just steal this part from this guy. We can just bust in. I'll, you know, rig the systems and everything. And then I had an entirely different super stressful scenario that I got to go through that was like far more interesting than this other one. So I've been having a really good time with it. I did have a weird glitch where I got stuck in a loop of I think the most recent update fixed it, because I did have like a, you know, pre-release code, but I did get stuck in a weird loop where I finished a mission and then it just started the narrative for that same mission again, and I just had to do it again. But
that sucks.
I think it's fixed now.
Okay, but it's also the thing of like, is the game trying to mess with me? It seems like, is this conceivable that it'd be a looping thing here? Yeah.
It was weird, because I did have that thought. I was like, is this like an amnesia route? Like, are we? But it didn't give me any like different dialogue options. It was the exact same one. So I think it was just a mistake. But but I'm really enjoying it. It's a very cool game.
And Hale, you're into this too, right?
Yeah, I actually played the first one. Hearing Jacob talk about it on, was it last episode or the one before? I was like, oh, this sounds very good. So I went and played the first one, and I actually beat the second one last night.
Jeez.
So it was fun to play them in rapid succession, because like 3 or 4 characters from the first one show up in 2 as well. So it was kind of fun to like, oh, I immediately trust them because I remember them from last time. Like, it was fun to have those memories and think about things that way. I just think it's an improvement of everything that Citizen Sleeper 1 does. I like like Kelsey was saying, like the systems are different, but I think they're better. It's like in the first one, you had to keep up with a few different things, but the main thing was there was this expensive substance you had to inject yourself with every few days. It was like 100 coins to get it, and it's hard to make money. So you're kind of the whole time you're thinking like, oh, my body's disintegrating. I need to buy that soon, but I want to buy a meal tomorrow and I need to do this. So that was kind of the thing that kind of kept you a bit panicked throughout your entire playthrough. And in the second one, it's like the dice just straight up break and then you have to remake them. But if you remake them with bad materials, you get glitch, and then the dice don't roll the way you want to roll them if you have too much glitch in your system. So it's not just like one thing to panic you. There's like 3 or 4. So by the time you're going out on a contract, like if you don't have your belly full, all your supplies figured out, no glitch, your dice fixed with raw scraps to spare, it's like you're going to have a hard time. So like Kelsey, I learned my lesson those few missions. So I failed that one too and came back and had to do like the steal thing. And I think it's almost like they kind of want you to fail that first one because that was such a well thought out like plan B that felt almost more fun and what I wanted to do anyways, that by the time I was late game and I had done pretty much every side quest and stuff, I had my, bonuses for my rolls quite high. So I felt very comfy and safe to go out and do a bunch of contracts. It's like, I don't feel stressed anymore. And it was for something where there's not that much level up. Like all you can really do is improve your rolls / like there's another ability where you can increase your chance for a good reroll. That's all you can upgrade, but I felt so powerful by the end. It was a very fun
The ability
growth.
to turn like a 3 into a 5
awesome.
is like, that feels so much better than like plus 50% damage gem or something.
Yeah. And it makes you just feel like, oh yeah, I'm ready to fight the big baddie at the end here kind of thing. So by the time you're finally getting to that final area, it does feel like a crescendo. And they did it with so little. Like it's just me reading and some dice rolling, but yet it still feels like that. It was a great game, and the writing's fantastic.
Yeah,
this game would be way worse if the writing wasn't good because it's 90% reading, 98% reading,
and just the world building in this game is really fantastic. Like I don't think that can be overstated, and the character design is fantastic. And so yeah, I mean, even though it is a mostly reading game, I don't know. It feels far more fleshed out than it has any right to be, as a mostly just looking at text game.
Yeah, and it's like, and the UI is really like expertly made to communicate those mechanics to you. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, you could make a simple version of this in like 5 minutes, but the fact that like there is so much detail, like eventually I realized, and it took me like a while to do it, it's like, so your dice break when you get too stressed, and then you like are fixing them with parts, but like when you fix a dice, it permanently for the rest of the game like looks broken. Like it looks like it's like glued back together in a way that it didn't. And so by the end, you're like looking at like your entire row of dice being like jankily smashed back together and kind of thinking about what that means for you as a character and all that. And it is like, yeah, there are so few kind of parts compared to like a third-person game where you control a character in an open world, but like all of those parts are used for the storytelling.
Yeah, that's sweet. I mean, Citizen Sleeper 2, for sure you like it more than the first one, Haley? Does it feel like a big leap going back to back with those?
Well, that first one was already so good, right?
Yeah.
Like we're talking like a leap up from already something very good, so it's not like nothing too crazy there. It's just, yeah, it's such a... The world's very interesting. All the systems are better. I felt so stressed playing it that I should have made it a bedtime game because you really feel like you barely scrape by every contract, especially until the end game where you're a bit more strong. But it's so fun just to be like, you need one more piece of this pie to be done the mission, but your maximum level of stress. And you have like a 50-50 roll and you're like, oh, let's see. You just like hold the button. That happens quite a lot. It's so fun.
Oh, God.
And like they were saying with the world building is very, like the concept of a sleeper is so fascinating. It's like not a spoiler to kind of go into that concept, but essentially like somebody somewhere in the world owes a great amount of debt. So they make a copy of themselves in you, a robot, to work off their debt. But they black out like what memory, like all your memories and stuff. But there's at one point where you find a cat, you're petting it, and they have like a flashback to being themselves petting a cat. And there was like such a beautiful writing moment about like the double exposure of those memories layering over top of each other that I was like, oh my God, this is beautiful. It's like that premise alone is so fascinating that they can kind of just attach any NPCs to talk to you and it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was interesting, the developer, in interviews, he's saying like, yeah, I started working on another project, I think, then I came back to Citizen Sleeper 2, and now this is the final Citizen Sleeper game. It's it feels more important to have like the definitive, like, I am now done with this series forever. Here you go, world.
I like that. I like that this is the final.
And they have actually, you can see in the background, that big pink box behind me is like the Citizen Sleeper art book set that Lost and Colt released, who's also making my book.
Oh, cool.
But like Gareth, the creator, also made like a single player TTRPG physical one for that box set based in the Citizen Sleeper universe.
Oh, that's awesome.
So like, I think they're just so Gareth also made the video game zine Heterotopius, which was like a huge influence on me in writing, which is a zine about video game architecture. So like, they're interested in just so many things that I really can't wait to see like what their new next project will be. Totally.
Yeah. Citizen Sleeper 2, Starward Vector. It's out on damn near everything. Citizen Sleeper 2 on Game Pass. Sweet. Another game that Kelsey and I have been playing a little bit. It's no Pick Pack Pup. But when it comes to match threes, Kelsey, apparently this is our genre here. It's called Spirit Swap, lo-fi beats to match 3-2. How did this get on your radar, Kelsey?
I just got an email about it, or actually a Blue Sky DM, I think. But I tried it out because I just love match 3 games. It's a very like before bedtime kind of puzzly thing that I like to do. And this is sweet. I mean, it is a very competent match 3 game with the twist in this one is that you get like spells as you're playing through the game, and they'll do different things. And so I think there's probably like 10 or 12 of them or something that all do slightly different things. It's kind of the same. You're doing a match 3 against another person in the story mode. And you'll be able to, if you line up combos, you can send them a bunch of garbage blocks that'll fill up their screen and go to the top. Kind of your standard stuff, but you'll get cool spells where if you line up the shapes in certain ways that aren't match 3, like kind of like a square or like an X or something like that, you can do things like freeze them. You can change them all to one shape. You can send like a big shooting line that just breaks up everything on your screen down the middle. Like it's a cool little twist. It's a very sweet, very queer story. Just a very cute game with cute art, and obviously the music is fantastic.
Very
lo-fi,
chill
vibes. Perfect for right before bed.
Yeah, no, nice. It is amazing. Like, they clearly did their homework on the entire genre, and so to take like the formula of just like a panel de pawn, which is one of my favorite little match 3 games, and it's on Switch Online if you want to have a great 2-player competitive puzzle game. And so you kind of take that formula and then just adding those spells. It's like, this is all the complexity you need on top of that time-tested formula, is the ability of like, okay, if you build different shapes, different wackier things can happen. And so I can't wait to play this game 2-player, like competitively. I think it's going to be elevating it to a whole new level, because I started the campaign. I'm like, even like Puyo Puyo Tetris, I just can't go through that campaign. Something about puzzle genres and campaigns for like match 3s I can't do, but it was charming for you, at least, Kelsey?
Yeah, and when you get through the actual story mode, you're in kind of just like a free, you can keep hanging out with these same people, keep challenging them and getting a little bit more story beats.
Okay.
And you'll get little decorations for your room. And it's just a bunch of little cute,
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, just the perfect kind of little cherry on top. Like it's not going to change your life with the amount of decoration options or anything, but it's just a cute little thing to be like, oh, I got like a starry rug, I'm going to change that out for my frog rug.
I'm such a nerd for that kind of stuff.
It is. Yeah, it totally is like, yep, smart choice. And it is, you talk about being wary of cozy games, Jacob. Like the vibe of this game, they are beating you over the head in a very tasteful way with just relax, be cozy. Like in the loading screen, it'll be like posture check, everybody. It is the most wholesome games ass game I've ever seen in my life.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's like, it's pretty heavy handed. It's very thick with the like, with positive, cute messaging. I mean, there's like nothing wrong with it, but yes, it is aggressively cozy.
Yes, that is the right way to put it. Absolutely. So it's out on Steam. It's called Spirit Swap Lo-Fi Beats to Match 3-2. I think there's an Xbox version as well here. But yeah, I feel like
I've been playing it on Steam Deck and it runs
perfect.
Great on Steam Deck.
Perfect Steam Deck game. Yeah, absolutely.
How can you do a posture check with a Steam Deck in bed, though?
I have bad
My
news,
posture is horizontal and it's fine.
Yeah, I checked it. It's bad.
Haley. So the abstract theory is, how could you possibly have bad posture while sitting up in bed? I think most people probably do, Haley. But who are we to judge?
Planking flat in bed.
Oh, I
Posture
see.
check.
That's it.
Not gonna be good.
Hey, outlet check, Jacob.
Outlet?
Yeah. How's the health of the outlet?
Good.
That's right. Patreon.com/MinnMax with
Wow.
2 N's, everybody.
One of the best ever.
You can support us directly. Unlock a benefit. If you jump in and support us before Monday, we'll send you that code for Tetris Forever if we're under 5,600 Patreon supporters. But again, check for a social media message. We'll let you know the second that we run out of those, because right now we're at 65 remaining. Thanks to Digital Eclipse and Atari for sending those over. So find the tier that is right for you over on Patreon. Unlock that bonus podcast feed, more than double the amount of MinnMax content every single week. And we should send out a big thank you. We should really make it a handwritten thank you, but we're just going to do it over the airwaves to I'm 8-Bit, because they want everybody to know about the World of Warcraft Classic vinyl soundtrack that's available in their wonderful online store. It is an exclusive to I Am 8-Bit here, the limited edition of only 1,000 of these. And it looks fantastic, of course, because it's a limited edition vinyl, but if you want the World of Warcraft Classic vinyl soundtrack, you can get it at I Am 8-Bit's wonderful online store. And we recommend you check them out, because help support I Am 8-Bit, use that promo code, which is BeMyPlayer2. BeMyPlayer2. Use that promo code this month for 10% off of everything in I Am 8-Bit's wonderful online store. Help support them, because they support the MinnMax show and entire outlet in a huge way by shipping out a prize each and every week to the community. Whoever has the best question submitted over there on Patreon. It's a good problem to have. I don't know if you noticed this, Haley, but we're getting so many podcast questions. We're this week we got 177 podcast questions, which is amazing. In theory, it just makes the show better, so keep them coming. But we are going to choose our number one favorite from that stack, and this week they win. I think it's the coolest thing I Am 8-Bit's ever given away here, which is the Nintendo Switch exclusive physical version of Sea of Stars, which has that huge fold-out map and a ton of cool goodies in there for a great game. So thanks to I Am 8-Bit. Show them some love.
I
Use
bought
the promo
something
code.
from I Am 8-Bit the other day. Not even because we support them, because I love their stuff. The Steven Universe movie soundtrack, and Rebecca Sugar did an individual personal album that I bought off of them as well.
Oh, that's sweet. That's cool.
Pre-ordered it.
Did you use the promo code?
I did use actually, it didn't work on pre-orders.
No, damn it.
No.
I Am 8-Bit. So Sean wrote in. They say, hey, MinnMaxers, Huber on The Deepest Dive told his story of how he picked up Onimusha back in the day. A few days ago, someone in the Discord brought up Dead Letter Department and asked if anyone had played it. I never heard of it before, so I went on the Steam page. I looked at 2 screenshots and then I bought it. And I can't remember the last time I bought a game knowing so little, but I played it and was absolutely floored by how good it was. When was the last time you all played a game without knowing anything about it? How'd it go for you? Also, please play Dead Letter Department. It's a horror typing game with some great themes. Yeah, I looked at that one. That did seem cool.
They just told us something about it, so now we can't play
Yeah,
it.
sorry,
It
Sean.
doesn't count now.
Hoisted, Sean.
I mean, there were several from the games that you missed 2024 bonus pod that Haley and Leo did. I mean, Starstruck was clearly the most successful in that it got on our 210s. But I also played Psychroma because of that, and Felvidic and Psychopomp Gold, and those were all games that I basically bought sight unseen, other than seeing 10 seconds of a trailer on that pod.
Yeah, other than that site that you saw. That's true.
Yeah, that's a sight one scene.
The most recent one for me was Onimusha, which is just very funny. And when you asked, I forget how it came up, but you were who wants to do the deepest dive on Onimusha? I was I am not going to read anything about this. I'm going to continue to just know what the cover looks like, and I'm going to start this game. And so I did not even know that it was I didn't know that it was tank controls. I didn't know that it was like fixed camera. I didn't know any of these things because I'd never played it and I knew nothing about it. But before that, I mean, that is just like how I used to pick games, you know?
Yeah.
Go to GameStop and see a cool looking cover. And I mean, that's how I got Animal Crossing. I just thought the cover looked really cool. And
simpler times.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm a fiend for like a simulator game on Steam. So sometimes I'll just look up the word simulator and then like glance at screenshots if it looks kind of decent. And if it's on sale, buy it and play it. And I played Thief Simulator not that long ago. And it's just literally like you're a thief. And I was like, this is fun. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's just stupid. Like, there's one house that I had to steal from. And you had to learn, there was quite a lot of systems. You had to learn when they go to work and stuff to like find the window when the wife and husband were both not home. I was like, that's actually kind of interesting. Yeah. I don't know. It's fun to just like dip your head in these random little, like we would never talk about that on the podcast. You know what I mean? It's just a very detailed system driven thief simulator game. I was like, cool.
We'll be editing this part out of the podcast.
So. Are you training for something, Haley?
No, just wanted to see what it felt like. See if I could get away with it. Haven't you ever been somewhere you're like, I like that thing. It's like, I'm gonna steal it, but I won't. It's like, would I get away with it? I wonder.
I think about that all the time. Like if we had like Matrix level perfect VR simulation, that would be number one experience. It's like, could I steal this out of a museum? If I had like all the time in the world to train, no consequences, could I do it? Not going some weird murder spree. I just want to.
All you have is a map of the museum.
Yep.
Go.
Or like if it was like, perfect simulation, you had all control. Like, don't you just want to see if you could pickpocket somebody on the street? Like, just how much could you get out of a purse before they'd turn around and see you?
I'd be so curious. And I would never want to, I would put the money back in, in real life. I just want to see if I could do it without them noticing.
There's a game that I jumped into completely cold, and it's surprisingly cool. It's called News Tower. And it's an early access, but you talking about sim games made me think of it, Haley. But it's a little bit like Sim Tower, which I'm a sucker for. But the idea is you're just writing an old newspaper. And it's like a little bit from that side view, a little bit like your Fallout shelter you're just talking about, or like Sim Tower back in the day. But instead you're like sending out reporters on assignments and stuff like that. Like it's cool.
I want to play that.
Yeah, and it's like all set in the 20s. But yeah, News Tower is the name of that one. But the idea of going in cold media, it's so rare these days, but I had like one of my favorite movie going experiences in a while recently where Paris, Texas, that movie from like 1984. Have you seen it, Jacob?
A lot of people's, no, but I haven't, but it's like, it's a lot of people's favorite movie.
Yes.
Like I have multiple friends who are like, yeah, Paris, Texas, my favorite movie.
That is genuinely it, is I knew that like, this gets brought up every once in a while as a great movie. And it was playing at a theater in South Minneapolis. And so I got a couple friends who was like, hey, do you guys just want to go to Paris, Texas, sight unseen? Because all you know is that it's a good movie. I looked up the Rotten Tomatoes review score and that was it. And I was like, okay, high 90s, done. And it was so damn cool because the way that movie opens then is it is like a guy in a disheveled suit wandering the desert, confused about like who he is. You don't know any context for it. It's just the perfect movie because for the first 35 minutes, it's just like, who is this guy? What is going on? And to have that range when you don't know anything about the movie of like, this could be a movie about UFOs. He could have just been like set down again by an alien. You have no context of where it's going. And then it goes in a fascinating, odd place. Haley, I sent you a news article real quick. Speaking of a news tower. So there was reports going around. Everyone was screaming about it. Hear ye, about like the Skies of Arcadia trademark getting renewed. Mm-hmm. And so everybody online is like, Skies of Arcadia is coming back. Here we go, everybody. And as an IP lawyer, I just wanted to get your read on how excited should we be as Skies of Arcadia fans that Sega renewed a trademark?
I would say trademarks get renewed all the time forever, and it doesn't mean they're going to get used, so don't get too excited. That's what the unfortunate thing. Trademarks are the only form of IP that you could potentially own forever, so long as you just renew the trademark. So you just have to keep up with the filing. So you have your period of protection, which is usually 20 years for a lot of jurisdictions, and then it comes up and the office sends you a letter and says, do you want to still have this in your IP portfolio? Refile. And so you just refile and then it stays in your portfolio. Like, why would you give up a trademark that has value to it that you've accumulated over decades? I don't think it's anything that exciting. I'm sorry.
So why aren't these news stories popping up all the time? Like every time, hey, they just
because it made you think that game's coming out, even though it's like you're gonna click on it.
So
I don't
that's
know. He's saying why aren't people publishing every time any trademark gets
if
re-upped?
it's great clicks.
I don't know. Someone probably just was going through. It was a slow news day. They were looking at the USPTO trademark database, and they're like, "Look at this! Oh, I don't know."
Okay.
Posted as a front page thing, but those trademarks get renewed all the time. I'm sorry to be a bit of a Debbie Downer, but
Yeah. All right. Never mind.
sorry, you guys.
Josh Lamb writes in.
Watch it come out tomorrow, and everyone's like,
Probably
"Fake
will.
lawyer."
It feels right. It feels like if I had to guess what Sega was going to do, it's like remastering Skies of Arcadia. Like that is such a no-brainer. It's wild that it has not happened. It's getting up there for like the most slam dunk obvious things in the game industry to do. I don't know. Josh
Maybe
Lamb,
the trademark filing bump reminded them about what a great game that was, and now they're remaking it
because they saw the news stories.
because they saw the news stories and all the hype.
Oh yeah,
maybe
we
that's
do
it.
own that.
Oh, weird. So Josh Lamb wrote in, they say, not too long ago, I was in a mall and I saw what looked like a parrot flying overhead indoors. Shout out to Kelsey, the spirit of all birds.
I love that.
Yeah.
Associate me with every bird you see.
Not a minute goes by and I saw a sad looking girl with her mother holding a bird cage.
Oh,
My first thought was, this is a side quest, isn't it? And I helped them look for their bird for a while until I had to call it quits because I had to get my daughter home for bed. Let's just make up an ending to that story, though, and say that the bird was returned safe. It flew back into the cage and all was well. But have you ever had a moment in your life where you thought, certainly this has to be a side quest, right?
That's so funny that's the story, because my side quest story is I literally stumbled upon a family who was looking for their dog, and I helped them find their dog, and it was like, mission complete. And I was like, yippee! It was at Point Pleasant Park, a park near where I live, and they were just like, Scrappy, or like whatever the hell its name was. And I was like, I'll help too. And I had my dog, so I was like sending her out to like entice the puppy wherever it might be. It was like a little young puppy. That's literally the exact same story, just a bird, a dog swap.
I like the dirt bird one better.
That wasn't going to be my answer, but I do feel like animal things feel like side quests.
They do.
I don't know why. Like, my partner and I were driving down the street and we saw a dog with just like walking down the street, just clearly, had a collar on and everything, someone's dog, but no one by. So we parked and we went and tried to go like wrangle this dog, and another guy joined us and he brought a leash because he like had one on him because he had a dog. And those are always side quests for some reason.
They are.
I had a different tone of one where I was called to jury duty 2 weeks ago, and it was like a pretty big criminal case, and I was like on the, it's like they had like 50 people there, and they were kind of like, they call first jury and then a bunch of them get dismissed, and then they call more people up, and like I was called up and was potentially going to serve on this, and then I was like, I have trouble trusting cops, and they were like, all right, get this guy out of here. But it was very much, it was like, if I didn't say that, I think it was going to be like a week plus long trial, and it like totally my whole life for a little while would have been something completely different.
So you rejected a side quest.
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
I was very
chose the
consciously
option.
like, do not accept.
And it was like a juror number 2 situation where you had to because you might have been a culprit.
Yeah, I might have done the crime. Yeah.
Happens all the time.
I do feel like a lot of things that happen at my stores are side quests. It's like every time there's like, oh, a tile has broken here, or like this shelf is falling apart, or this needs to be repainted. Every single one of those feels like I am taking time out of the main story. I really like, and they're annoying side quests. None of those feel like rewarding ones. They feel like they're popping up and you're just trying to enjoy the story, and there's always someone running out in front of you and being like, nope, you need to do this first.
Yeah, I'm glad we're all approaching it like Ichiban would, I feel like, from Yakuza. Like, isn't this fun? Life is fun. It's like Dragon Quest. This is great. Owen Ricardo writes in and says, hey, MinnMax, if the only games you could play for the rest of the year were either the full library of these 2 systems, which would you choose?
Love questions like that.
You have to choose between the full library of the PSVR 2 or the Game Boy Color.
Do original Game Boy games count?
Let's say for the sake of this argument, no. Only Game Boy Color specific games.
I think it's got to be Game Boy, but only to save my eyes. Like, It's not so much that I think that is way better. It's that I will physically not be able to play that many video games if I choose the PSVR 2.
But you won't really, like, if you keep bringing up Link's Awakening DX and the 210s, it's going to be kind of obnoxious. But I feel like there might be something.
If you bring up any PSVR 2 game in the 210s, no one's going to be like, great pick.
Yeah, we got to get one in there. At least you can be kind of relevant-ish with the PSVR 2 game. You could talk about...
How many Barbie games does the PSVR 2 have? Because the Game Boy Color has 4.
Yeah, no, I can't compete. I bet there's not a single
Barbie's
one.
Ocean Discovery.
Correct.
Gosh, let me see if I can get.
If you get these, that's insane.
Ocean
there's a Barbie like something ride game. There's like a horse one, I think.
No horse one.
No?
Here.
Okay.
No.
All right, I give up. I know Barbie's Ocean Discovery. That's it.
I rocked Ocean Discovery. Loved that game. There's also Pet Rescue Magic Genie Adventure. Maybe you should get Leo. That one has a guest star. And Fashion Pack games.
You could play Totally Angelica, the Rugrats Totally
I
Angelica.
unironically loved that game. Like, I don't think I've been on the pod since you guys have like made fun of that game. I used to play the crap out of that game.
We're not making fun of the game.
Makes fun of it. It just has a catchy trailer.
We're singing the trailer song over and over and over again.
Yeah, but you
I
never
could
talk
sing
about the
it right
gameplay.
now.
Take it away, Jacob.
They're Totally Angelica.
Oh, you start with the
way.
chorus. You're not even a deep cut fan.
Okay, I know.
Come on, girls, get ready. We've got the stuff to live your dreams. Who wants to be a princess when you can be a queen? I'm totally Angelica in every single way. Totally Angelica. Who wants to be me today? You know we have the power to be the girl you choose.
The fact that there's a second verse is really what takes it over the top.
Yeah, show them what you're made of. Tell the world the news. I'm totally Angelica in every single way. I'm totally Angelica. Who wants to be me today? Available now. The good news, there is
available now part of the song.
probably.
Is this your go-to karaoke song?
Yeah, and it never works. I just say mute the karaoke. I don't even need it. Chime in if you know the words from this 90s commercial that no one else remembers. Synth Riders Experience on PSVR 2 has Barbie DLC for the Weird Rhythm game. It's the Barbie Dance and Dream DLC. Okay.
You know what I realized earlier this week with kind of like a chilled feeling in my stomach is that the sequel to Thumper came out last year.
No.
Yes. Thrasher, the VR game.
Yeah.
That is out.
Shut up.
And not even in our like hundreds of community like, hey, check this out.
Yep.
It's man, that's bleak.
That is terrifying. Yeah, I mean, there's so many other games that I also have that terrifying feeling. It was like, how did nobody bring up this game? I think of like, there's a game we did a code giveaway for, and I feel bad that I haven't picked it up yet, but it's called Gory Cuddly Carnage. And it's always my go-to game. It's like, oh, like good reviews on Steam. It looks cool. And zero people brought it up, even in the MinnMax community, when they're suggesting hundreds and hundreds of overlooked games from the year. You know, it's just, you can't win.
Thrasher only has 6 reviews on Metacritic. And it's like, Thumper was big. Thumper was like a big deal.
I took a picture of it. I want to play that for sure. I want to check out that weird experience. Let's see. So everybody chooses Game Boy Color except for me? Is that the way we're going?
I think I choose Game Boy Color.
No, I would choose PSVR 2.
Okay, thank you. Battle lines have been drawn. Chia writes in, they say, learning about the painter who kills old people in Expedition 33 got me...
Hang on, 33 is old people?
That's right.
Sorry, man.
North of Jesus, get out of here. Got me way more excited to play the game, but also made me think of how insane I must sound describing JRPG plots to my fiance, who mostly plays simulation games. What's the wildest game premise or moment you've had to explain to someone who's out of the loop?
Explaining Death Stranding to anybody is so fun. Because how do you even start that? I was talking to my dad about it because he was watching The Walking Dead or something. And I was like, oh, Norman Reedus is in a game I'm playing. He's like, oh, what's it about? It's like, how do you even start that conversation? I was like, so he throws piss grenades. He has a baby on his chest.
I don't know if you lead with piss grenades.
That's the most fascinating part of Death Stranding.
Yeah,
You're telling me you didn't unlock the best piss grenade version and throw those everywhere?
He
Hello?
said, obviously, there's another mass extinction event. My go-to is Bayonetta, which is one that I like actually have done semi-frequently because I love that game. But it's like, okay, she's a witch. Her power comes from her hair. She's doing attacks with her hair. Also, her clothes are her hair. So when she does the big attack, she gets more naked. And by that point, the person is like Put a restraining order against me.
But it's tasteful. It's well done.
It's empowering.
Blunkers writes in and says, "Hey, MinnMax, when's the last time y'all had a good cry over a piece of media?" I don't think we let ourselves let it all out enough, says Blunkers. Personally, I watched the Disney movie Meet the Robinsons this week with my kids, and I cried a nice long cry. 10 out of 10 would recommend letting yourself cry.
These little wonders.
Oh, wow.
These twisted turns of fate. That song does slap from that movie.
That's good.
I cried a lot too. This is a bonus pod call out because I was watching a lot of Ghibli movies because Jacob, Kyle, and I ranked them all on this week's episode of Bonus Pod. Check it out. But I had never watched the Tale of Princess Kaguya, and I watched that. Absolutely crying my eyes out at the ending of that film. That's the best non-Miyazaki Ghibli movie, by the way. I've formally decided for the world.
Lock it in.
So if you haven't seen that one, go watch it. It's so long, but it's so good. And I think in particular, women are going to cry their eyes out at that movie. It very much is for that kind of audience.
What's it called again?
The Tale of Princess Kaguya.
Okay.
Studio Ghibli film.
Yeah, a couple got me. There's this stupid Bluey book, and I've never even seen Bluey yet. We just have a Bluey book that I've read to my kid hundreds of times, and they know exactly what they're doing with this one story. And I was reading it to him literally for like the 70th time, and I suddenly just started bawling. I was just,
that's nice.
It's a story. It's a story of like, Bluey being like, I want to dream that I'm a fruit bat and I want to fly around. And then like as he's dreaming, as he's flying around as a fruit bat.
Bluey's a girl.
Sorry, I haven't seen the show. Don't care for it.
Very controversial subject, by the way. A lot of people presume.
Anyway, so as Bluey's dreaming and flying around, she's seeing what her dad is dreaming of, which is like playing football with his friends. And it's like, it destroys me every time because I want to play football with my friends so desperately. But what really got me recently was following, I'm only like 9 months late to the party, Haley, I swear. But I went down a big Chaperone rabbit hole recently.
Let's go. Yeah.
And it's so funny, like just became obsessed with the song Pink Pony Club. And there were like so many comments on YouTube that were making me laugh where they're like, I'm a 30-year-old dad, a straight guy, and I've listened to this song for 10 hours straight. Is something wrong with me? Like something about that song is just so grabbing. But what frickin' killed me is there's this YouTube video, and it's the greatest premise I've ever seen, where it shows her performing that song like 4 or 5 years ago, like outdoors.
And her little keyboard.
Yes, exactly that clip. And it just shows that, and then it slowly shows it building as the song is building to eventually her just like at huge stadiums singing the same song to go from nothing to that. But then the part that was just unexpected is then it cuts and it starts showing people doing their covers of the song, like performing the song themselves and like dancing in the living room and singing it, or doing like covers with their friends of like, here's an all-string version of Pink Pony Club, just like showing this is the evolution of a song. Eventually, when it gets to that point, then like the world has it.
Yeah.
In tears. It just destroyed me.
She's a great person for those kind of feelings.
Yeah.
She's very grounded and like is appreciative of the fact that that's how you feel watching her and her little keyboard 4 years ago. It's very sweet.
This is the kind of stuff that always gets me. I am a big crier at like anything like that. The most recent one, there's a Gatorade commercial for it's got Josh Allen in it, the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, and it starts with him. He's like working out really hard and he's typing out all of these emails that are like, Hi, coach. My name is Josh Allen. I'd really just like a shot. Here's some tape of me. Please give me a chance. I'd love to go to your college. And it's all these like rejection emails coming back, and he just keeps working out harder and harder, and it builds to eventually he's like in the NFL, and it destroys me every time.
We love a quick little Gatorade arc.
Yeah. But also we should not gloss past the idea that also a picture of like a beluga made Kelsey cry too. So
yes, a picture of a beluga did make me cry.
That's fantastic.
Haley, I somehow didn't bring this up yesterday when we were recording Bonus Pod, but I went to a string quartet Ghibli concert recently. Or it wasn't Ghibli, it was Joe Hisashi, but he's done like almost all the Miyazaki movies. And they just played the Castle in the Sky theme, and I immediately started crying.
Oh god.
For me, it's Howl's Moving Castle. That's not the merry-go-round song. Carousel.
That was their encore. And it was like I knew the second that because they were playing mostly chronologically, and then they skipped Howl's, and I was like, well, I know what the encore of the show is.
Yeah. Let's
Jealous.
see. Ricky Maru says, hey, we've been getting a lot of very good video game dreams fulfilled lately with Ninja Gaiden, Okami, Onimusha, Silent Hill, but Japanese studios seem to be leading the charge here. Why do we think that Western studios aren't making more of a swing in reviving old IP? Is it the amount of legacy franchises? Philosophical approach to games? Something else? I thought this was interesting. It really made me think. I think there is something to that.
Is that a true statement?
It feels
Really,
right.
though? I feel like
I also question if this is actually true or just like a vibes thing.
Over the last 5 years, like the history, let's say the last 10 years, the number of like, oh my God, I can't believe that IP is coming back. I feel like it's 85% coming from Japan. And maybe they're right. Maybe it is just a matter of they have the oldest franchises because they made better games out of the gate. I don't know.
is it just that Japan is better?
There's something
Yeah.
And also, to be super snarky about it,
Uh-oh.
it kind of feels like Western devs are like embarrassed of their previous work. Like, could you imagine like Naughty Dog doing like, we're making a Jack and Daxter again, or like a Sucker Punch doing like old Sucker Punch stuff? They're like, no, we're doing the new gritty version of ourselves.
We'll spend 7 years making new IP instead, please, which I guess is good. Yeah.
I
don't
guess
know.
Western is more into sequels than remakes, right? Like they'd rather make this part 2.
Well, but like Okami isn't a remake.
Yeah, Ninja Gaiden 4, you know,
isn't.
but
It's just like bringing back old stuff.
Yeah.
I do think the history probably runs a little bit deeper on a lot of these. Like, there's just a lot more long-standing franchises that were big, all the way back in the 80s and 90s, and I think there's just more of that in Japan than there is here.
wait, we should delete this question. Croc's getting that remaster pretty soon here, so you know what? Yeah, I'm sorry for wasting everybody's time. Croc's back. Manifest Echo writes in, they say, have you ever been desperate to find information about something that you think should be easy to find on the internet, but it actually isn't? Somehow, almost a year later, I still can't find any lyrics to Galleon Beast from the 7 Rebirth soundtrack online, even though there's various people who have gotten the lyrics for it in order to sing it in the concerts, and it's driving me nuts that I can't find the lyrics of that
I
song.
love how they point to an example of how it should exist.
Yeah, it's on the stage. They just want to hand it to me and put it online.
That's awesome. For a long time, I was trying to figure out what I understand it's complicated, but I thought there should be like some basic comparison, which is just like, how much energy does it cost to put something in the cloud? You know, like how much, if I have like 2 terabytes of data on Google Drive, that's ostensibly in some storage rack somewhere. What is that equivalent to? You know, does my storage take up the energy of like a desk lamp every year, or is it like a hair dryer? It's just like
Right.
what is the expenditure of just like saving things digitally? And I couldn't find anything even like approaching that sort of thing.
That's interesting.
Well, and there are different levels of storage. Like they,
Right.
I'm not super familiar with this, but I know like AWS will use different snow themed names for things for like, how deep is this storage? And I assume that means that, it takes less energy every day but I don't know. I feel like at least for Google Drive, like that's kind of that's fairly standardized. Like that information should be out there. I agree.
Yeah, because it feels, it's like when you're saving something digitally, it kind of feels like free, but it's not. But like, how not is it? Like I just want to have some point of like, because it's like if I like rented out a storage locker and filled it with magazines, I'd be like, okay, well that is like square footage and maybe it's being air conditioned or whatever. But like I have no idea with hard drives.
Yeah, that is interesting.
I think it's just one of those, like, we are so far removed as a society from like how anything works and gets from, being rocks in the ground into becoming the final
Right.
products that they are. Like, I don't know how anything works, I don't think
Like if
That's
society
true.
gets
That's the
destroyed,
reality.
they're like, make a computer again. Like 99.9% of humans would be like, oh God, we couldn't do it.
No.
This question was basically the entirety of when I used to do YouTube. This was kind of like exactly what I was trying to pinpoint. It was when I started finding some of these like weirder games. The one that I always point to is a Super Nintendo game called Packy and Marlon, which is a game about elephants with diabetes. It's an edutainment game. And I thought this was like just a very strange choice for the Super Nintendo and just for a concept and everything. And so I was like, I want to learn more about this game. And then there was like not very much information about this game and its development or why it was made. And I mean, this was years ago. Maybe someone's written an awesome Packy and Marlon article since, but this was kind of like this was exactly like what I was into. Is I was like, okay, why was the Game Boy sewing machine made? You can't just Google that. That was not information that was coming up. And so, I ended up going through newspapers.com and reaching out to people at sewing machine companies and stuff. So I think that process is very fun, but I also think that it sucks that it has to be done when you're
just
trying
journalism
to find...
at that point, right?
I mean, as much journalistic interest as there is in a Game Boy sewing machine, but yeah.
There is, Kelsey. There is.
Rit Function writes in and says, Kelsey, what are your thoughts on the Video Game History Foundation providing public access to its digital archive?
That's the whole thing, baby. That's the whole thing that the foundation was working on the whole time.
Cool.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not with the foundation anymore, but when I was, this was the day one goal. Like it was the entire time was building up to this. So I'm so excited to see it finally launch. All of this stuff had been getting found, scanned, all of that this entire time, but actually getting it onto, I mean, there's a lot of layers to it. There's legal layers, there's, but getting all of this onto a browsable archive that is all sorted. Everything is tagged so that you can just search for keywords and everything. Like that was a multi-year long process. And so now that it's all kind of set up, I think, it's only going to keep getting better. And it is a really, really cool resource. We just did a New Show Plus going through some of it. And it's it's an incredible research for resource for video game research.
Yeah.
The amount of man hours it must have taken to input all that. I can't even begin to think about the scanners that must have scun to get all that in.
The foundation didn't even do all of the scans because some of the scans were from Retromags, provided by Retromags, and then the foundation did. The last number I had in my head was 1,200 magazine scans, and that's just the magazines. So there's also a bunch of development documents and stuff like that. And,
oh my gosh.
I did some of those at the public library.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, some of the Mark Flitman collection we just took to the public library and scanned there.
Oh, yeah.
The thing they talked about in that video was like they had to develop their own text recognition software.
Yeah.
Because gaming magazines will have like neon yellow text on an orange shiny background, and it's just like, this just doesn't work. Like normal text recognition can't read this. It's just, but then they made one and it like worked.
Yeah, magazine layouts in the 90s, they were basically gotchas. Like just trying to wrap your mind around it. So it's at library.gamehistory.org if you want to search all of the archives. And Frank Cifaldi over there, his example was like, you can search the term Metroidvania and see every time the word Metroidvania was popped up in a video game magazine. It's like, you can see the origins of it. That's so cool. And for New Show Plus, y'all went through a bunch of stuff. You can see it on our YouTube channel. But the part that I thought was really sweet was we searched for Jeff Marchiafava's name, expecting like, what's his first article in Game Informer? It's like, no. In the 90s, a baby Jeff Marchiafava wrote into EGM. And so
cute.
It's like, I never had any idea. I bet even Jeffum didn't remember that, but the idea of like, he wrote in to defend Metal Gear Solid 1, even though he had never played it or something like that, right?
No, I think he was mad that it got too good of a score and he hadn't played it yet. So really, Jeffum is just the proto gamer that all current gamers stem from today.
That dweeb. But check out that resource and donate to the foundation if you like as well. Travis in Fargo writes in and says, pound for pound, what's the most valuable piece of memorabilia that you own?
So I've got
Kelsey question.
Yeah, I've got a couple. Video game stuff I have. I should have brought some show and tell, but I have some. I have a complete Wonderswan collection, which is a Japanese handheld. And after I completed the collection, I was like, no, I want more, even though I have every game. So I have some very strange stuff in addition to just like the games that came out normally. I've got like a balloon. I actually have 2 balloons that were just point of purchase, inside of a store, a big inflatable blue Wonderswan. But I have 2 quote unquote games that I think most people would not consider to be part of the complete set. One of which is something called Mamamite. It is a pregnancy tracker for the Wonderswan.
Oh my god.
And it's of this era, like the early 2000s is this era where computers were still expensive, like custom computers were still expensive if you wanted an electronic device of some sort. So, and this is the reason for the Game Boy sewing machine too. It's just like, this was a cheap way of having a computer without having to create the entire thing from scratch. So, this was, wasn't like marketed as a play your Wonderswan and then play your pregnancy. Like that, it was just for tracking your pregnancy, and it came with a Wonderswan. But yeah, it's a little program that tells you about what exercises you should be doing and foods you should be eating, and that comes with a scale, and you weigh yourself, and it's got a little infrared sensor, and it's just this wild piece of technology that took me like 6 or 7 years to even find one for sale. So wow. This is rare enough that it's not like, well, if you have the money, you can just go buy it. It's like, no, they are not online. There's not anyone selling these.
Do you have any sense of how much that full Wonderswan collection is worth?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't. I mean, I could do some table math or something, but it's a little over 200 games, about 210 or 15. Yeah. And some games are really expensive and some games are okay and probably averages out to about $50 a game, if like just true average. Sure. But yeah, so I have some expensive video game stuff, but I also have some cool sports memorabilia too that I never talk about. I have
not interested.
This in your voice, like, am I allowed to? Please.
I have a game-worn glove from Antonio Gates, who was the Chargers tight end for a long time. And I have a couple of like signed baseballs and stuff. I don't know. I think they're cool.
Hey, look, you don't think it's offensive. That sounds great.
That sounds like me when I'm like, GTA 6 is going to be fun. It's you with your baseball.
I like baseball. Somehow it's too dorky for this podcast. I think mine's probably like in my possession. I have like a GTA San Andreas BMX bike that they only made like a couple of and shipped out to press, but it's in my basement and it's going to stay there forever apparently. So pretty valuable.
Mm-hmm. Send me to Minneapolis at some point.
Okay.
Ride it home.
I'm going to ride it home. Okay. Cool. I actually did. I did some research into how to get a bike on a plane, and yeah, I'm on it. I can totally get this back on the plane.
It's a sick bunny hop.
Yeah, I'll actually just sit with the bike.
You grind along the table.
I'll just be riding it up and down the plane.
Indexical writes in and says, my lovely family gifted me Kelsey's book for Christmas, and needless to say, it's wonderful, beginning to end, her book on Animal Crossing. As a former devoted Wild World fan, it opened my eyes to what I've been missing all these years in the first game. With my birthday a week later, I decided to go down the road of getting the authentic Animal Crossing experience as a present to myself. After finding a decent copy of the game, I scoured eBay for a great condition GameCube after selling mine years ago, then buying all the accessories I thought I needed, and then falling down the rabbit hole of HDMI adapters, ended up spending far too much money, only to find that the GameCube digital out is actually faulty. I'm currently deciding what to do next. Sad to say, I still haven't played Animal Crossing, which I probably could have just played on a Steam Deck.
Like a Wii. I would just get a Wii. That's they're backwards compatible.
Yeah. Okay. That's probably
they're a lot easier to hook up and they're less faulty and
yeah. And then just like
lasers are kind of dying. So.
And you can still have the controller. Like just put a pillow over the console itself so you can trick your brain into that you're on the original hardware or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has anybody else gone through stupid lengths to play an original game in the original conditions?
These are all such Kelsey questions.
I know.
When I was in college, I got a Sega Genesis for the first time. I'd never played one, or never owned one. I guess I had played one at like, friend's house or whatever. I wanted to get a CRT, but I was at a college dorm. So I found someone selling a 10-inch little tiny CRT on Craigslist, and I met them at a Starbucks, and it was at the bottom of the hill. If anyone's in Seattle, it's the University Village, and I lived, on campus up that giant hill. So I was like, it's fine. This is not a very big TV. I didn't have a car or anything. I was in college. And I paid $10 for this TV. And it took me like an hour to get up this hill because carrying something that is like 30 pounds up a really steep hill up to the dorm was way harder. Way harder.
Slowed down.
I mean,
this poor girl.
That was a side quest.
I don't know if I would have accepted help if someone was like, hello, 18-year-old girl, I'm going to drive you up this hill. Like, I don't think I would have.
I would honestly, if I was carrying a CRT TV and like dragging it up a hill, I'd be like, yeah, you can kidnap me as long as this TV gets up the hill. I don't care at this point.
But it was absolutely the best way to play all these Sega Genesis games that I had not played. It's also how I played Earthbound for the first time. I got a Super Nintendo and hooked it up. And so it was great. I loved that TV. It was my greatest college purchase. I don't remember what happened to it and I miss it. But best $10 I ever spent. But boy, was that trek up that hill terrible.
This is the complete opposite of the question, so I apologize. But I was very spoiled at Game Informer because I remember like early on, it's like, I always wanted to play Colony Wars for the PS1. And so getting to grab Colony Wars from like the Game Informer vault and then hook it up to a CRT, but then to have like the full PS1 flight sticks for Colony Wars on PS1 is like, this is the absolute dream. And it was good. By the way, Kelsey, I finished your book over the holiday break. I'm sorry it took me so long, but it turns out it was quite fun. It was excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's
okay. I don't expect anyone to read it. It's okay.
I think it's rude if you don't. If you're listening to this and you haven't read Kelsey's book on Animal Crossing, I think it's a personal attack. Yeah. At what point did you make that connection that you talk about early on of you moving a lot as a kid and connecting emotionally to the idea of moving into a town in Animal Crossing because of that?
I think it was probably... That's a great question. I do remember like very vividly feeling that in elementary school, just being like, oh my God, like other people aren't from other places. They're from here. They were born here. They didn't move around a lot.
Right.
And I think it was probably like when I sat down to write the book.
That's what I'm wondering. If it was like this weird kind of like therapy session of like, that's a weird connection to my life, that there's probably some fuel there for why I'm passionate about meeting new people in Animal Crossing. Yeah,
I don't think there was like an aha moment for me, but I do think it was when I was writing that. I was like, oh, yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah. It's nice to have those epiphanies in your life, like, this lines up.
This is why I am the way I am.
Exactly, yeah. But also, that stuff about like the NES ROMs in Animal Crossing was fascinating. We could talk about it for 45 minutes, but just like unpacking the capabilities of that emulator in Animal Crossing is so cool.
Yeah, I think I'll shut up about my book in a second, but I do think that the fact that I was not really able to talk to a lot of people at Nintendo for this book, and Lord did I try, and I had friends at Nintendo, and they all tried for me, and it was a group effort, didn't work out. But I do think that actually forced me to find some more interesting information that existed kind of outside of, just what a developer would have told me. So I ended up talking to a ton of people who have done a lot of like deep work on the actual, inner workings of the game and like the modding scene past the game's release and everything, and just kind of what we can learn from it post-mortem rather than mid-development.
Yeah. I just feel bad that Jacob's allergic to Kelsey's voice. I feel like it's...
I just sneezed like 6 times.
It won't stop. Tess wrote in. They say, hey, could Kelsey talk some more? No, they say, hey, everyone's always upset at awards shows, but no one ever talks about the only one that matters. Game time. I've got the nominees for the favorite video game category from the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards. Can you all tell me the winners for the Nickelodeon Kids Choice Awards for these video games. 2024. What games come to mind for what's a likely culprit? 2024, a great year for games. What is Nickelodeon choosing?
Jamboree? Mario Party Jamboree?
No, but that's not even on the list, but that's a very good guess. You could argue it is the most important game in 2024 for kids.
Roblox
Minecraft? Won it in 2024. Roblox.
There we go.
Is it just Roblox every year?
It should be. Yeah. It should be. 2019, great year for games, right? We got Death Stranding 1, Outer Wilds, Outer Worlds.
Disco Elysium probably won the Nick Kids Choice Awards, I'm assuming.
I'm sorry, the answer is...
slimed on stage.
It was Just Dance 2019 that ended up taking home the grand prize. Now, this one actually is correct. 2005, they had Scooby-Doo 2, Monsters
Shadow
Unleashed.
of the Colossus.
Okay, we'll hear them out.
Resident Evil 4.
Okay, Resident Evil 4, Shadow of the Colossus, Scooby-Doo 2, Shark Tale, Shrek 2, or Spider-Man 2?
Oh, Shrek 2.
Shrek 2, correct.
Spider-Man 2.
I was going to say, Spider-Man 2 is such a good game, though.
But have you played Shrek 2 co-op? It's pretty sweet. We have a stream that's just for you. 2023, another great year for games.
Baldur's Gate 3.
No, they decided to go with Minecraft instead for 2023.
That's so weird.
I mean, again...
Did they also do Minecraft in 11?
I don't know.
2013.
So they said, Tess here wrote in saying, Just Dance won 8 of the 10 awards in the 2010s. And Donkey Kong Country and Super Mario 64 both won twice. I don't know how that happened.
I need to know how this selection process worked. Like, who was voting on this?
In a row, hitting buttons.
It was Jeff Keighley's toddler twins voted every time. Yeah.
What if there's a stalemate between his twins?
Yeah,
what
it's
happens?
ugly.
I'm just so curious why some years it's games that came out that year and some years it's not. And Just Dance is I need to know who these people are.
All awards are completely logical. Don't worry about it.
Children are people, Kelsey.
All right, what do y'all like for question of the week here?
I liked when Haley said children aren't people.
Yeah, that is nice.
I liked the one about being desperate to find information.
That is interesting.
Mostly I like knowing that they can't find those Final Fantasy lyrics. I think that's funny to think about.
Yeah, I was kind of leaning that way too. Do y'all have thoughts?
I like the explaining a game to somebody who doesn't know what you're talking about question. I like that one too.
Mm-hmm.
I also like the side quest.
Side quest is good. Side quest is good. Or are you okay giving it to Manifest Echo for the thing you can't find online question?
Absolutely.
Great. Love it.
Finally, they can find something online. A winning question.
That's right. Check your mailbox.
My favorite part of that was just I know there has to be it. They have concerts. That's just such a great thought with that.
Thank you so much for writing in, everybody, over on Patreon. And congratulations, Manifest Echo. You just won that awesome Nintendo Switch version of Sea of Stars, thanks to I'm8bit. And now it's time for something that we like to call Get a Load of This. Hey, y'all, get a load of this. Simple, easy one from my beloved Geography subreddit, which remains the only great place on the internet, other than the MinnMax Discord. It's those two places, Geography subreddit and MinnMax Discord. Guess how many islands Sweden has?
Is it going to be 80? Or 200 or something?
Don't be foolish. Sweden has the most islands in the world. It has 267,570 islands as part of it.
Oh my God, I guess 0.
You were so close.
I mean, if you round, I also guessed 0 compared to what the answer was.
Yeah, there you go.
What? It's okay, are they counting when the tide goes out and there's a little patch of dirt? They're there's an island.
Yeah,
are they
probably.
being weird about it?
Yeah, it says here those stupid Swedes are being stupid about it. Haley, is that what you want to hear?
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
Get a load of this. This really feels like I'm channeling Jeffem for this pick, but look, our world is being run by disgusting little worms who have more money than they ever should, but I can take pleasure from the headline, "Everything I say leaks," Zuckerberg says in leaked meeting audio. I saw that and I was like, there's no better headline than that.
That's perfect, yeah.
Get a load of this. NVIDIA, I'm sending you guys the link because it really needs the video. It's in the cohorts only chat. NVIDIA gave this robot software a bunch of footage of like basketball games and soccer games and stuff. And then the robots are learning like how to move like the players based on analyzing the footage. But my favorite part is they put on the jerseys so that it's like extra scary to watch the robots move. So like they like told one of the robots to learn how to be LeBron James essentially. So it's like trying to do all his moves and jump around, but then they just also put on its jersey on the robot. I'm like, that's too far. Like something about the jersey being on the robot too is just too much. I don't know. I was watching this video.
Robots.
Like it's just so hilarious. Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo. He's like doing it. He's wearing a Lakers thing and just like turning around and trying to jump. I hate when robots get too human-like, but then it's just something with the clothes really gave me pause, and I was like, we've gone too far. Yep. Stop clothing them.
Didn't they play Detroit Become Human? Come on. Links below if you want to check out all this stuff.
Get a load of this. There was a really controversial basketball trade this last week, and I'm from the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas, and I think the people I know in Texas are more mad about this trade than they are about anything else going on in the world right now. But their star player basically was traded. It was a very, very terrible deal. But the Mavericks fans have shown up, and they have been holding like mock funerals. They've been bringing coffins to the stadium, just doing all kinds of very fun protest. This is kind of my favorite kind of class protest, is when it's in the sports world and they're just protesting billionaire owners by bringing coffins to the stadium.
Perfect.
Oh my God.
Mally Firestorm in the Discord, where there's a Get a Load of This channel filled with good links, interesting links all the time. Constant flow of those. But they shared this post about exactly what we talked about last week of like, how are they remaking Ninja Gaiden 2 in a different engine? There's a whole thread of talking about how it's working under the hood to have like a layer of Unreal visuals on top of the core proprietary Koei Tecmo engine, which is funky. Awesome. So yeah, you can check out a link below if you're interested in all that fun stuff. But that is it for this episode of the MinnMax Show. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching, listening. If you enjoyed it, if you enjoyed the direction of MinnMax recently, you can jump in, get a code for Tetris Forever by supporting us on Steam. Again, we're out of codes when we hit 5,600 supporters, or when we post on social media that we're all out, but we'll post all that immediately. But jump in, it's a great game, a cool way to have that interactive documentary. But if you've enjoyed MinnMax's stuff recently, if not now, when to jump in at the $2 or $5 tier, I ask you, because we are sprinting like mad. We got Alana as the guest cohort, which I'm happy that we did. It was wonderful to have her. The Retro Deepest Dive with Michael Huber, I'm glad that we did. The one-on-one developer interview that we did with the developers of 1000 Times Resist and Mouthwashing. If you enjoy those, you can support those. If you think anything so far is worth $2, you can jump in there. If you liked the rapid fire interview that we just posted about Avowed, the continuation of the rapid fire series, you can jump in, support that. The Shuhei Yoshida interview, which again, not complaining. It's always just, I think, fun to share, but like that was picked up so many places like Yahoo, IGN, GameSpot, VGC, Games Radar, Eurogamer, Tech Radar, Nintendo Life. Like everybody ran news stories based on that Shuhei Yoshida interview we did, which is lovely, great, love it. Total revenue from that interview on YouTube is $40.26. And that's best case scenario possible for a developer interview on YouTube, for it getting picked up everywhere. So that's why we rely on people jumping in on Patreon. But also, if you enjoyed Alana Pierce and Janet getting together to play Doom from 1993 in Janet's little studio over there in LA, if you enjoyed the revival of Thirst Council, if you want to hear Kyle and Haley and Jacob do a whole tier list for all of Studio Ghibli movies, that's available in Bonus Pod at the $5 tier. Also, that cohort Hootenanny, where it's 8 of us talking about interacting with celebrities and a bunch of other fun stuff and kind of a loose bonus podcast. We have MinnMax Spotlights on the horizon. We're in the midst of planning. We have 2 shows that we're going to be launching soon, 2 new shows. One of them is kind of a fun trial balloon, and the other is something that's going to be a season of a new show. So we could use the support. Jumping in, patreon.com/MinnMax with 2 N's. We'll send you that code for Tetris Forever if you get there in time. But that is it. Enough of these stupid plugs. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Is anybody else dying to say anything?
There's a new season of Something Rotten happening. We're reading books. We're done with video games. We've read some books for this one. So
get
your
game.
book learning on.
Hell yeah. Perfect.
And then Haley and I are going to do a Pokemon card opening and talking about stream.
Yeah. That'll be tomorrow.
Tomorrow, or today if you are listening and not a Backstage Pass subscriber.
Of course, yes.
Sweet. Yeah, it'll be up on the bonus YouTube channel presumably soon. Also, if you're at the $10 tier, we did something interesting where as I was prepping for the Shuhei Yoshida interview, I just streamed myself sorting through 7 pages of notes of questions and kind of walking and talking through that interview and kind of the prep and what I wanted to get out of it and trying to cull the questions down. So if you're interested in that kind of behind the scenes thing at the $10 tier, that's a great spot for it. Also, if you like those rapid fire interviews and you want to see a behind the scenes of how we put them together, at that $10 tier, there's also like me screening an extended rough cut of the Avowed one. And Haley was there and Kyle and Leo kind of offering feedback and tweaks and seeing what worked, what didn't. And so it's, if you're into the, media creation process, those are 2 good examples for you. And also, I threw up there my raw live reaction to the Jurassic World Rebirth trailer. I just streamed it for $10 supporters. So that's also up in the Discord channel if you want to see me geek out and analyze that trailer in a big way. All right, that is it, everybody. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it. We'll be back next week with a whole new episode of the MinnMax Show. Until next time, be good, have fun, let's go.